Good morning, or whatever, anyone. Oh, this is great. I just went live and I forgot to get myself a drink. How silly of me. You join me while I'm dealing with the extremely frustrating wine problem. And not the problem of I have wine, it's the problem that I'm using wine and it's not working. So we are now live on the main site. So I go to godbolt.org. Everything that's being compiled right now is being compiled using the new jailing technology that we're using, which is something called firejail. Firejail is a process isolation technique which should make the compilers that much safer. There should be far fewer things. I can't, for example, hash include etc. group. It doesn't group. It doesn't exist anymore. Whereas before you could include etc. group and anything, right? And this is not really a consideration and not really that much of a worry. It's just that firejail is also going to be used for when we actually allow people to execute binaries, which is, what we want. That's been the whole goal of my month here, or 3 weeks so far. And as you can see in the message of the day, we're aware of issues with wine MSVC. So let me show you what I mean by that. So let's go to MSVC in here. MSVC. Oh, let's go wine in here and pick x86 MSVC. Obviously, there's no etc. group in Windows, but yes, compiling ... int moose return 12. It's hanging, but it doesn't always hang. And it's very frustrating. So about 4 or 5% of all compiles are wine compiles. So this is not a huge problem, which is why I was able to square it with myself that I was still going to run the live site in this state. I'll be honest with you, it was also slightly a mistake. I was testing in the staging environment, which is this one here. You can see with the horrible word staging in here, staging over here. The staging environment by design is very similar to production, and I had some production nodes restart and they picked up some of the staging configuration, and that's sort of by design, but maybe shouldn't be that way. Anyway, once production had started picking up the new changes that I pushed to staging, it was effectively released, so I might as well have released the whole thing. So I did release the whole thing. Let me get the YouTube chat up. Hey, good evening, Andreas. So that's where we are right now. So I'm debugging this hanging, and I can't reproduce it locally, or I did reproduce it once locally last night, just before I went to bed, and I got very excited that I thought I could, with it being reproduced, I could do something with it, but no, I couldn't find a fix for it. So the symptom is that the process seems to hang. The compilation hangs. If I run strace on both the wine side and the wine server, so there are two processes in wine. It seems there's a wine server which is responsible for like the registry, and then there is the wine process that's running, CL, the compiler, and they talk to each other, and the conversation allows the file system view comes from the wine server, it seems, as does the registry and a whole bunch of things. And they seem to use pipes to talk to each other. When I run strace, I could see that the CL wine, is waiting for a response on file descriptor 7. File descriptor 7 is a pipe, the other end of which was inside the wine server. And the wine server, when I straced that, was just like, I got nothing to do. It was running epoll. It was like chugging along nicely. And I couldn't easily see what was going on. So we're now, so just to answer Andreas's question, he asked me how my things went with my proposals. I submitted my 2 proposals. I hope I'll see how that goes. At least I've written 2 proposals. I have a whole bunch of other things I'm supposed to be doing, but this is frustrating me so much that I need to get it done. I have been asked to do a guest lecture at the University of Chicago, which is nice. So I've got to prepare for that. And I've got a whole, anyway, it doesn't matter. My personal life things that are falling by the wayside as I am trying to get this stupid thing sorted. So here on the staging site, I'm actually logged into and running from the command line this site directly in the right-hand window here. So you can see the debug information here. And I've currently disabled, I've commented out the entire profile. So if I look at etc. firejail wine.profile, And I've got another window here, less, or cd compiler explorer dot deploy, less that. Whoops. Whoops. There we are. I've just commented the whole thing out, and then I restarted it just to see if just running under firejail itself was enough to tickle this problem, and it is. So that's annoying. That's annoying because it means that there's not really any. Oh no, I need to. I wonder if I need to pass a no command, no defaults, but I don't think so. Hi Alexander. I'm also experimenting, by the way, you folks, with a lower latency or low latency, not ultra low latency, but this is low latency. So I'm hoping that if you do talk to me, I will be able to respond in slightly less frustrating time, but who knows? And as long as the video quality is good enough for you to actually see what I'm doing, that's the main thing. But yeah, I'm not anticipating this is going to be the most exciting stream. It's going to be a window into how I approach debugging, if nothing else. Yeah, so I have all but disabled firejail. And what I was planning on doing next is I'm going to stop the site and I am going to edit the configuration execution.amazon.properties, and I am going to disable execution type firejail. So now we're just going to run everything directly, which is a sort of a minor security risk briefly on the staging site. So if you want to try and hack the site, now is your time to act. So here it's just running everything directly, so you could include etc group, and there's really nothing you can do with that, so I'm not worried. This is more me using it as a test system, and ultimately I might just disable firejail for wine. That would be a very simple solution. So here we go, it's running all of the compilers. I'm trying to limit the amount of work that it does so it doesn't take 100 million years to start. Okay, so here we are now, not running under wine. So I'm going to click the refresh button over here. So someone else has just hit the site, I see. And every time it's fine. The fact that it's so intermittent and I can't get it to happen makes me wonder that if there's a race condition in the implementation of wine, in its communications between the wine thingy and its wine server, the wine client and the wine server, that's just tickled because timings get mucked up when it's run under firejail. But this is reliable as. I can see somebody interposing some G91. Right, yeah. Running Chrome builds in a loop to debug some Ozbug. Yeah. There's all sorts of horrendous things have come to pass like that. I have definitely had at work when I had some very unfortunate TCP bugs. I would sit in a tight loop running like curl or something in as many threads as I could, hammering my local machine. Yeah, so this is stable as you like. So just running it under firejail alone is enough to tickle the problem, which is super annoying. Super annoying. Now, I was chatting with someone in disabling... Alright, so I'm just letting somebody know in the Compiler Explorer chat. I'm going to say streaming live, but... commenting out firejail config. Problem still there. Disabling firejail, problem goes. Now it may not be firejail still because there is a different code path through my code, including some setup stuff that I do that is just a bit different. So we'll go and read through the code a couple more times to make sure we can't see like a hole in the way that works. And there's definitely a problem with. Yeah, it's just right. Well. I'm convinced now that that's right. So if you're using the staging site, it's gone again. We're going to go and turn firejail back on again. So exec.execution.amazon.properties. This is not the best way to debug anything. It's just I can't reproduce it locally, and it drives me bonkers at the case. I also moved to to wine stable, which means that I'm now using the version 4.0.1 on the Compiler Explorer site, whereas it was using version 3 before, and all sorts of things like that, which is its own problem because /opt is actually mounted from a read-only file system. So I had to do some bind mounting to make opt wine stable appear. It's just really irritating that the wine folks wanted to put things in there. So that wine stable, if I put ls in there, that's not actually stored on the network drive. That's actually stored locally. Ugh. Anyway, so we've just turned wine, what's it called? We've turned firejail back on, and we'll just prove to ourselves in a second once this all starts up. Yeah, speaking of debugging, oh yeah, sorry, that's just popped up again. Gosh, there's a lot of compilers. Okay, refresh. And it hung on the very first call. That's just surprising, right? So something one of the other people in the C implementation or Compiler Explorer chat room said was like, how about killing the wine server and see what happens? So if we kill the wine server, what seems to happen is that the long-lived aspect. So it takes a while for the wine server to start up, and also the very first process that starts after you've started the wine server is responsible for firing up. Let me show you. PSAUX grep wine. So here are all the things that are running in wine. So here, wine device, we've got 2 copies of it running now, which is sort of suspicious. Maybe from the previous run. Interesting. But there are all these kind of like system executables that are running, that are being emulated. And it takes a while for those to fire up. And the first process to run after you've started the wine server, well, the first process to run tries to start up a wine server if there isn't one already. If the wine server once the wine server started up, it also then goes, are there any of my support executables? And if they're not running, it also runs those. And then it's kind of all of those processes run together. And if you're running under firejail, that means the firejail execution never stops, because firejail keeps from running until all of its child processes are dead. Now, the way that I get around this is that I run a process immediately after starting the wine server, which I keep running. I run another process afterwards that is responsible for just forking the wine device stuff. So I just run command and I write echo hello world, and I check that I can see the output from that. So it means that I'm running like a shell, a Windows shell, all the time, and that Windows shell is I wonder actually. No, I was just wondering then whether or not there was some problem with I/O with that Windows shell. I don't think so. Because obviously if it's writing to a FIFO and that FIFO fills up because no one's listening to it on the other side, but I have got something listening to it on the other side, so it should be okay. Yeah, it's just me thinking out loud. Yes, okay. Wine devices. So yeah, we need to run a process to just kind of be the sacrificial lamb. I call it the babysitter. It's not really a babysitter, but it's the babysitting process that just causes all of those things to run, and then that means that every subsequent execution runs and executes and is done and comes out the other side, and that's great. But I wonder if those processes stop running for whatever reason, they will be restarted by the next execution. Yeah, I don't know. See, there it worked fine. Let's go over here. And then immediately it died again. So what I was doing before is I had this watch line. Let's see if I've still got it in here. Watch. Watch? No, okay. So we're going to do watch. Firejail. Watch minus. What is that? Minus n interval 0.5 firejail dash let's put this in the quotes dash list echo psaux pipe grep wine echo psaux pipe grep cl l. So we should have a list of all of the relevant processes here. So you can see we've got 2 jails running. 29041, which is running the wine server, and 29042, which is running the wine of the command, which is this sacrificial thing, the babysitter. And that 29042 should be one of the ones that's running this wind devices. So that means that, you know, so far we've got an extra wind device, but I'm not sure what's going on there. So let me just refresh here and you should see something happen immediately. Okay, so now you can see that we have another jail running, but I don't see a CL running. So what the heck's going on there? Is my... Alright. So I've just piped it through less here so we can have a look interactively. So there's a whole bunch of things in here. Wine device, plug play.exe. Interesting. I wonder if my trick to get the wine devices to fire up is not actually any good. So when I search for Windows, that's going to be a way of making sure we pick up all of those processes in my little... let's just do Win. That should get everything. Yeah, okay, now we can see a whole bunch of things. All right, why don't we clear the plate? I'm going to stop this. I'm going to do firejail -- list ps-aux grep win. Oops, wrong command here. Okay, empty list. Let's start up the application, and then we're going to watch my little list of things there. So we see, there go all the compilers. Good grief, there are so many of them. We see some zombies in there. Cue the cranberries. Okay, so we seem to have settled down now. Hey, Luca. Everything's started again. We see our 2 fire jails up here. I'm going to make this window... We don't really need to see what the heck's going on in Compiler Explorer. We only need this button here to work at what's going on here. All right, well, we've got a Getty. Where's it getting the win from in there? Or CL? No clear. There it is. Haha. All right, so we have four processes running there. Oh, wine.profile. I guess these are just like the sub-processes of firejail itself. We're obviously picking up a lot more than I meant to pick up. But we can see that we have 2 wine devices and a wine server. Now, these wine devices, I'm hoping, are all children of that CMD, the sacrificial command that's up here. Which should be one of these things. 1002, there it is. So let's run that and see what happens. Oh, there was something interesting that fired up in there. What did we see briefly? There was definitely a whole bunch of extra... Aha. So there is the compiler. We don't have any more... So now we've wedged. Why now? Why does it now? That's so annoying. Hi, Antonio. And there, it just got killed because of the process that we ran out of time. So this is the problem we're debugging. It's like, why would running a Windows executable under firejail with firejail doing absolutely nothing, and I mean really nothing, why would this be a problem? And only sometimes, right? If I refresh, it might just work. Okay, now we seem to be in a new state where it doesn't work every time. Well. There's going to be a lot of me stroking my beard, and I'm desperate for a cup of tea. I need to go and put the kettle on in a minute, but I want to at least get something to ruminate on while I go and do that, rather than just be bewildered as I currently am. Check the Slack, make sure. Yep, okay, we've got some threads to clear up. Yep. So, in amongst all the things from like the release over the last couple of days, I decided to do the release last night, not live streaming it, because I wanted to make sure that I could do it quietly. I know there has been a conference on, and I wanted to make sure that conference was over before I potentially broke the site. I also wanted to do it like in the evening, because that's mostly the quiet time for Compiler Explorer, and I knew that it would also give me another day. My weekends are crazy with the kids, so my today was clear to like exactly look into these kinds of things. So again, one of the solutions to this problem is that we just don't jail wine at all. I don't like it at all. I don't like that. The compiler threat vector is not that big, and I'm not particularly worried about the wine-based compilers themselves, but it's just annoying, right? Where is the chat? There it is. Oh, I see, you're still there. This is, yeah, not the usual talkative Matt going, oh, I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to do this thing. It's like just Matt going, what's going on? I mean, any number of things could be wrong, right? One thing we could do is try a different version of wine, but I can't reproduce it locally. I'm not being able to reproduce it locally. If it's a timing related thing, as I kind of suspect it is, then there's every reason why my laptop here is either faster or slower than the machines that are running, and therefore it doesn't happen that often. But let's try and get a good case. Look, there's a good case. Okay, it worked that time. Yeah, firejail debug. No, so I was able to reproduce this locally. In fact, I can do that. That's a good idea, Pantoufel. I was able to reproduce this whole setup excuse me, completely from the command line, which was very convenient. And firejail debug was like, no, I'm doing some things, and I've stopped doing things, I'm waiting. And you're like, well, yeah, you're waiting because the process is waiting, and the process is waiting for file descriptor 7, and file descriptor 7 turned out to be the communication with the wine server. So we can try and do that. That's not a bad idea, though. I'm going to reproduce this. So I'm going to stop you. Goodbye. I am going to run. So I'm going to run firejail. Right. Env wine prefix equals /tump /ce wine prefix firejail opt wine stable bin wine server. Oh, we need to give firejail some commands, so we're going to do firejail -debug. And I'm not going to do wine debug equals -all, so we'll get some level of wine debug. If I put in all, it's just unbelievably dreadful. And another clue, I'd never got it to fail when I had the debug mode on, which does make it smell again of like a race condition. Right, if you turn on printf debugging and everything starts working, it's like maybe I have a race. So we're running tump c wine prefix firejail -debug -profile equals etc firejail wine.profile, which is just an empty profile right now. There it is. Okay, so there's the wine server. Oh, we have to give wine server -f to stay in the foreground, to keep it in the foreground, and then -help because I can't remember. -p for persistent. That means that it doesn't shut down after an amount of time. So there it is. The wine server is alive and well. Now I'm going to go to a new terminal here, and we're just going to try. Hang on, laziness just kicks in. I'm going to steal some of that. There we are. Okay, and paste that in here, of course, but not as easily as you might want. Ugh. Yank. Okay, we don't do wine server. We want to do wine 64. And we're going to do opt compiler explorer Windows 19.10. something 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 lib native bin cl.exe. Woohoo! There it is. That's what we were expecting to see. And you see now, this is not exited. This is not exited because I'm going to have to get a third terminal up. So I'm going to create a new terminal. This is on the admin node. So I now have to log into the staging instance. There isn't only one. All right. Now, let's go back. That's still hung. There's wine server. And then there's CL. If we do firejail -- list, we can see that that is still running. And if we then go ps tree 9371, this is because that compile was the first thing that ran, and so was responsible for spawning all of the child processes that are required to keep wine running. And this is exactly what I'm trying to do with my CMD. You know, that command that I run at the beginning of the babysitter I was talking about. Matthew Parnell says root prefix of etc. question mark. I am afraid I don't quite get what you're getting at there, but if you could explain yourself a little better, that would be handy. I'm sure you've got some great ideas. I am obviously running low on them. So anyway, this is our sacrificial process now. So I'm going to make yet another one. So we're going to leave that running like I do to simulate the CMD process. Now, of course, it's not exactly the same because I run CMD and not the compiler. Let's grab all of that, copy, and then we're going to make sure it's still running. And then we're over here in, so yet a third thing. Use etc. rather than slash etc. Is intentional? Yes, that is intentional. Yes, yes. This is all inside a deploy image. Here is the etc. Yes, that's not clear. Obviously, most people are used to seeing slash etc. Here I've used etc. as like the subdirectory of the deployment thing, where all of the equivalent to etc. files go as part of the distribution. So let me yank that back with the clipboard magic. Yank. Okay, so there's cl again .exe. And yeah, especially I guess Matthew, you were saying like normally the firejail stuff would be in slash etc. filejail, so that makes perfect sense, right? It looks like a configuration file, but no, in here I actually do mean the current directories etc. But thank you for pointing that out and for clarifying. So this is me running the compiler a second time. There we go. Right, so now it does what you'd expect. We have our wine server in that window. We have our long-lived sacrificial babysitting process over here. And then we have, excuse me, a compiler we can run over and over again here. Wonderful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a temp moo, and I'm going to do touch temp moo, or rather I'm going to pick this up here, and I'm going to do echo to, or rather cat to temp moo example.cpp, pasty, returnee, and now we're going to run cl. And we're going to steal from this the command line. Yuck. Paste. And obviously half of that stuff's not going to work. Internal compiler error. Each one of these needs to be temp. That's fine. No logo. Blah, blah, blah. Anything that's the temporary directory needs to be temp moo now. Temp moo. Temp. I've got key presses, I can use key presses. Moo, UCRT, Windows Live Native, and then moo example.cpp. There we go, we just compiled. We've done a Windows compilation. Hooray, the same way that Compiler Explorer would do it. Ha! See? Stuck, frozen. But eventually completed. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Really interesting. Why did that take so much longer? You saw it was running, right? And it was quick, right? Let's have a look at our other processes. So there's our sacrificial CL. Oh, look at that. Wine server itself died. Why did the wine server die? Parent is shutting down by. because if the wine server shuts down, then the compilations will take longer, because every time the compiler starts up, it starts up its own wine server, which takes a while. And that's, you know, what we're seeing here is that now I can compile just fine, but 4 took about 4 seconds, right, for it to do its thing. So why did you shut down? And more importantly, are we seeing this on the live site? Let's go to Paper Trail and have a look. Because I think I log out if the wine server process dies. I better. All right, let's make that a bit bigger. We want to search for amazon.staging, which will only pull out staging requests, staging responses, timeouts, timeouts, timeouts. Let's search for wine as well. Also, no, there's the wine server exiting at the end of the thing, end of process. So we were getting timeouts, but we didn't see that the wine server had exited. So the wine server was still running when we were seeing these timeouts. So I think we've got 2 separate problems. I mean, this is null.local share is not in the search path. Fine. Maybe that's okay. Interesting we don't see that ourselves. Okay. All right. But the fact that our long-lived wine server died is definitely a problem. Why you die? Let's rerun the wine server. See if we can't. Oh, and then now our oh no, yep. Is that our sacrifice? No, our sacrificial one's running there. I'm very confused now. I need yet another terminal, don't I? Oh, this is going to get so confusing so quickly. Log in. Running in staging. We're going to go to compiler explorer.deploy again. And we're going to say ps tree. Yeah, we have 2. Well, we've got 1 orphaned set of plug play thingamajigs here because the wine server that they were running under died. And then here's the new wine server, and then there's the new sacrificial set of these things. Now, I really, really wish I could get the wine server firejail to run these things too. Does the wine server have a log? Unfortunately not. No. So the log is this output here, or rather wherever it was before. So I haven't got it on full debugging, and if I put it on full debugging, oh my word, you see so much stuff. But yeah. All right, I think that's the choice though. So we're going to Control C here. I'm going to shut all these things down and then sort of get ourselves to a nice AUX grep wine win firejail list. Nothing. We're back to where we started. So let's go and find there's a wine server. So let's do wine debug equals, and then we're not going to do equals all, which is what I normally do. Let's do wine debug options. Yes. Thank you, internet. Debug channels on or off. Class, channel, oh golly, examples. Warn plus all. Turn on all warning messages. Logs everything. Probably gives too much information in most cases. Yes. Plus heap, load DLL, plus message, message box, OLE, relay, SEH, server. Plus server. That sounds like a win. I don't think it'd be SEH plus relay. Let's give that a go. That sounds like another potential. Plus PID. Let's give that. And we'll give that a go. We'll see. I'm not seeing very much information there right now. Is wine server doing something if it's not allowed to? Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, somebody made a very good point there in the chat. Thank you, Exor674. No, we're not seeing anything. So if it had been disallowed, oh, not there. Sorry, let's have a look. Syslog. Yeah, normally you see the error message itself with fire if the process was killed because of something it wasn't not that it was not allowed to. And if you've just joined in, yeah, it doesn't kill the process. It usually just denies the system call or whatever, and then that normally means the application will go, oh, I got an unexpected error, and it might shut down because of that. But usually we see an error message in varlog syslog as well, which tells us, hey, I stopped the process from doing this the thing X. So we haven't seen that in this case. And also I currently have firejail on the turn everything off mode. It's literally just, I don't even know what it does with the minimal settings that I've got it on. But actually what I'm going to do, did I have debug? Oh, it is disabling a whole bunch of stuff. So firejail is clearly still doing something, but not very much. Okay, basic read-only file system is what it's doing. All right, basic. So it's essentially just disabling some very, very straightforward stuff. This was like the absolute minimum config. So that was a good question. Thank you. I don't think. Okay, so yeah, we're now going to find our sacrificial. Let's do it the same way Compiler Explorer does it. If I can find whichever one. Here. So instead of running Wine64, that I'm going to run CMD, and I'm going to echo hello. Oh, that's interesting. That has hung. If I find the right thing. So there's the wine server. And wine server is, which number are you? Oh, hello. Okay, it started up. It just took itself a little while. But wine device 1 failed to start. Mount manager failed to start. I wonder if that's related to this. Maybe there's some kind of thing that it's unable to do right now. So to your point, XOR, that means periodically it tries to restart something and it just gets worse. So we'll bear that in mind. I guess we should look at the process tree right now. Wherever we are. Okay, no, not you. PS tree. So we've got our wine server. We've got our CMD command here, and then we've got the things that it's running. Which is, so this is definitely our sacrificial doohickey. So that's good. Now we're going to run that command. Excuse me. And there we go. We compiled, and it was very quick. Before we do anything, we're going to look back at wine server is fine. CMD is still fine. Spare terminal is fine. Okay, let's do what we did before, which was we just sort of sat doing this, and we were like, hey, everything's groovy, right? We can just keep doing this. And is it because we put the debug information on? Who knows? Super dodgy though, right? Super surprising. See, this seems solid as a rock now, in as much as like running 20 times in a row is like infinity. Do we have any output here? No, we have our echo hello here. Now what actually happens is that we get an end of process on one of these things here. So if I type exit in here, that's really what's happening inside Compiler Explorer. We let the CMD executable drop out. Once we've done echo hello, or echo is it working, you can look at the code actually. It's in exec.js inside lib, or execute.js inside lib. So that's more like what Compiler Explorer does. We still have nothing interesting coming out of the wine server. Why? What's going on? Hang on. For I in seek 100 do yank done. This is more akin to the comment that was made earlier about running things over and over again and just trying to like flesh out these things. This is what happens with these race conditions. I'm not ashamed to say I have had some, I was going to say unit tests, but they're not unit tests, like some stress tests, I suppose, that just sit in a tight loop, hammering my atomic code. See, everything's just fine here. Everything's situation normal. How are you? So that did not expose anything. Now, if we were to... oh, hang on. I've got somebody giving me something. If we're going to start... So somebody has just said, I should probably share the stream information in case they want to join me here. Where is the share button? There it is. Someone just said, for what it's worth, if you don't start wine server and run something under wine that never exits, it will start and keep wine server going for you within the same firejail. So that might be a nicer way of achieving it. Rather than having my babysitting process as it currently is, we actually run CMD or whatever, and then just keep it around. Say, hey, you're living forever. That might be a better way, rather than having both the wine server and the other thing. A wine server and like the babysitter, and that would work both for with inside firejail and outside of firejail. So that's definitely something I should take a note on. I think that would make things simpler. Simplify things. So CMD long lived. At the moment we deliberately kind of let that die. That might be a problem in itself. Oops, and if I could type in the right window, I just typed in clicky clicky there. Stable, okay. And we're gonna do another 100 of these, and it just seems rock solid, right? Yeah, I'm no luck at all. Now we've of course got the debugging information on. Whoops. So if I get this back here and do wine debug equals minus all, and I think we're still going to see some debug information because that says win debug for a start. That's definitely not going to help. I think we'll still see some debug information coming out of here because I think most of this debug information is actually coming from the settings of the wine server. Sorry, this is me rudely typing to the person who's helping me in a different chat window over there. Oh, and plus, I suppose it would show DLL calls. Yeah, that's right, Pantoufel. I'm wondering if we're seeing most of those appear here, like these things, but those are fix-me's, aren't they? Oh, right, so the so it doesn't look like that wine debug took, right, in the other window, because, yeah, like you say, Pantoufel, we should see like a trillion T messages here. Why not lucky? All right, that's not going to help anybody. This one. Ah! All right. You are doomed, my friend. All right, are we down to everything? Let's do PS tree. PS tree. I did mean PS tree. There it is. Firejail wine devices. So we still have somewhere in here. There it is. Are we clear? We're clear. Okay, so experiment 2. There's nothing really we got from that because like everything just seemed to work. Experiment here though. Experiment the second. Oh, where was I running wine server from before? Which terminal? I think it was 0. Okay, so wine debug equals plus server, plus relay, plus peered, all of these things here. I am just going to run CMD. This is the suggestion that was made in the Slack channel. I'm just going to run command. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, because... user... No. Opt wine stable bin wine 64 CMD. Alright, there is... So now we're seeing an awful lot more debug information. That's me typing in CMD, and we're seeing a million things going on in there. Now we're going to leave that the heck alone, and I'm going to run PS3 over here and see what we get. So now we've got a single long-lived CMD. We have Explorer.exe. What the? Ugh. We've got services, we've got wine device, and we've got the wine server. So now we've just got one firejail, one long-lived firejail process that's running to Le Monde, the whole thing, everything. And it's puking out debug like nobody's business over here. But we're going to let it run, and we're not going to exit from it. And now we're going to run our compiler over here. And I am going to get rid of the -- debug in firejail in favor of -- quiet. And now I'm going to do for I in seek 100 do and all of that done. Aha! Hung! In your face, wine. Hung or taking a very long time. This looks like what I was seeing before. We have a hung compilation process, and we have what appears to be just something that's happily waiting in the other window. Like they seem like they've blocked on each other. So, gonna kill that. Ah, this is the problem with the default. There we are. Okay. And oh, interestingly, that killed the wine server too. Shouldn't be able to happen. Okay, we're going to run this. I'm going to get... No, I'm going to run it again. Okay, there we are. Blah, 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 blah. Wait for multiple objects. Exactly. But multiple, many of them. All the objects. Moose. Echo, foo, moo. Do we see moo anywhere in there? Yeah, look, there it is. Oh no, something anyway. All right. So we're back to where we were before. Now in our for loop here, I'm going to not do wine debug equals - all. So we're going to get some level of debug output. All right, it looks like it's hung again. So okay, there goes my theory. Pending. Wait for multiple. What are you waiting for? Ah. Yeah, it's just hung. Dead beef. Hi, semiconductor. Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's good fun to work on. But currently, it's a source of huge frustration because we can't get this thing to work. Oh, thank you. It's a very nice, very kind words. I have received two very lovely emails from people thanking me for how nice the privacy policy is, which I think has got to be some kind of legal record that you know it's written in English. My wife's a lawyer, so I had some help, but I've tried to keep it in as Englishy and sensible as possible. But it's nice to have that feedback. I'm going to have to make a cup of tea, you know. This is beyond my ken right now. And as I say, a solution to this whole thing is don't run the compilers under wine, but I don't like that. I don't like it at all. For all the reasons that you might not like it. Well, I guess I could actually... What happened? Firejail wine. There. I never thought to do this. Does anyone, like, hey, does this work? Anyone knows how to? You tell me no is firejail with wine. Definition check. So it has a definition file for wine. Interesting. So why don't we look at what the default firejail settings are for wine, because I'm definitely not using them. Well, they'll be installed on the system. That's not what I meant to do, but it doesn't matter anyway. So now this is /etc firejail, if there is that such a thing. Oh no, because I haven't got it installed there. Where do I install firejail? Which firejail? Firejail. Use a local bin. So is it in its? I don't know where it puts the. No, nothing in there. So is it in user local, etc. firejail? Yeah, there we are. Okay. Wine dot profile. So we actually have got a wine profile. Okay. No blacklist dot wine. So in a default wine installation, the wine prefix is the .wine directory in your home directory. So this is it allowing, well, first of all, allowing Steam by the looks of it, because it's presumably going, hey, if you're running wine on Linux, it's probably because you're running games. Some stuff to do with Mesa, which I don't think we care about. This home.wine, that is interesting. No blacklist, but we know that we're not blacklisting it because it is set explicitly to be in /tump, and what we've done is we've made /tump is shared across all of the instances, otherwise they wouldn't be able to talk to each other. We know that they're talking to each other because they're communicating and then wedging. And then all these things get turned off on a million other bits and pieces, and so then none of these things like reduce the amount of blacklisting other than that. And as we're not blacklisting anything, I wonder, is it loading this already? I hope it isn't. I hope it is not loading that just out of default. Let's have a look at the where is a wine. Okay, we're going to have problems killing this process. I'm just going to hold down Control-C until something notices. There we are. Hardly ideal. But where is that individual run? Is there. That's interesting. Now it's hanging every time because we've killed the process. So it may not even be hanging. No, it just took a long time. But if I get rid of the quiet... excuse me, is the fact that I'm running wine meaning that it's automatically picking up something I don't want it to pick up. So it says command name wine64, creating some empty files, host network PID namespace installed. That might be a problem, if it uses process IDs between the client and the server to do anything. Yeah, if it uses process IDs between the client and server to do anything, then the fact that there's a separate PID namespace might mean that it could wait on the wrong process or do something like that. That's an interesting thought, right? So one thing we were doing very, very early on was trying to use the same firejail for everything. At least for wine. And that we ended up scrapping that which means that they would share the same PID namespace. And we scrapped that because we were trying to do like a private directory mount. But I realise now that maybe, and then for other reasons we had to scrap the private directory mount for wine processes. So I just wonder if we have to return to that approach of putting everything in the same jail. And I will test that by trying to do it locally. So we're going to do PS tree. We have no wines running at all. And we want to go to wherever I was running that. Okay, wine debug equals all of those things. I am going to make a call on that this wine debug is not useful. So I'm going to do that. And I am going to man firejail and search for name. I'm sure there's a way of naming. Oh, name. Darn it. Join equals name or pid. Name, it's just dash dash name. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to say firejail dash dash debug dash dash profile dash dash name equals, and we're just going to call this wine server. Right, so we have a long-lived process called wine server. In the next window, we're just going to do firejail minus list, and we can see we have got the wine server here. Wonderful. So then our env wine debug blah 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 debug profile equals all of these things. We're going to do dash dash join equals wine server. So this will now run in the same namespace and the same everything, I think. It's also a lot quicker because we're just connecting in and then disconnecting from that other process, which is something that Austin was in the Slack Compiler Explorer channel was also mentioning might be a good idea. So why don't we do our for I in $seek 100, do that, done. Seems stable. We'll let it go through all 100 of them, and then we'll go and turn off all the debug, and then we'll just run through it again, and then we might have a solution here. It's not a solution I love, but it is a solution. Okay. So we're going to exit here. And then we're going to kill the process because there were some long-lived things in it. Wine debug equals dash all. Wine debug equals dash all. Oh, I know where the debug output was coming from. It's coming from firejail. Of course it was. I was thinking to myself that was all wine debug, but it isn't. Let's put quiet on here. Crossing my fingers. I don't know if your culture uses crosses fingers as like wishing myself good luck. I think we might have a solution, everybody. This might require a cup of tea. Require is strong, obviously. So the next thing I'm going to do is something you should never do, which is I'm just going to hack the code on the server directly and then test it there, because too many things can go wrong and it's too long-winded a process, which is, tells you more about my process than my rigor in general. So we're going to exit you. Excuse me. Control C U. We're going to go lib exec.js. Okay. Who needs a fancy IDE? I need a fancy IDE, but we have to put up without it. All right, so there's this babysitting nonsense going on over here. And we do wait for good here. And what I'm going to do is I'm still going to have two processes here. I'm going to say name equals wine server there. And then I'm going to say join equals wine server there. And then further on we're going to have search for quiet. That should give me that. This dash dash private is unnecessary, and in fact join equals wine server. I think that does the trick. I think that does what we need it to do. And I'm sorry, I've alt-tabbed away from the chat, so if you've said, oh yes, gosh. The old wine in it shuffle, yes, I'm just catching up. Requiring certainly isn't too strong a word. Yeah. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, it's definitely... definitely. I've been talking for nearly an hour now, and that would be nice. Anyway, so we've got join equals wine server. I think that's all. So we still have a completely blank, etc. firejail wine.profile. That is still empty. All right, so don't get too excited if this all starts working, because we have yet another thing to check out. Ah, invalid option profile after dash dash join. Of course. Join equals wine server. Yeah, because joining, I think, basically prevents the profile from even taking effect. So it's a bit of a misnomer to put it there. Killing a pre-existing wine server, and then what does this say? No valid sandbox. Oh, blast. PID equals 15182. PS 15182. So firejail. I guess that's an interesting point, actually. The dash dash private. The fact that I've put dash dash private. We were able to reproduce anyway. Pantuful asked where the CPP object files. There's already a hack in Wine where I don't use a private temporary directory because I just couldn't get the communications to work between things. So they actually see the global /temp, and so everything ends up in that global /temp. The dash dash private is just a belt and suspenders thing to get rid of the home directory completely. Yeah, hopefully that makes some sense. But join equals wine server ls. See, that works. No valid sandbox. Initializing wine babysitter with. So why don't we try that? Opt wine stable bin wine 64. All right. I think there needs to be. We're going to do some grotesque hackery here because that's what this is all about right now. Yeah, so already we have minimized is not the right word. We have oh, I'm sorry, my brain is not working. Wine already blows a small hole in the side of the security model because of all the sharing between the server and the clients. And now we're going to have all of the clients be able to talk to each other, which is not ideal. But, you know, there's only so much we can do. Wait, didn't you? I did, but I've re-enabled it. Sorry, the firejail is still happening inside the etc config, I think. But I will check because execution dot Amazon dot properties. Yeah, we still have firejail in there, luckily, but I did disable it. You're right, Pantuful. All right, so what we're going to do here is the world's most grotesque hack, because I think I know what's going on here. We're going to do child process dot spawn sync sleep or exec sync sleep 1. Because we just need that thing to have started up and be running, and it's not right now. Ugh. I feel dirty even suggesting it, but... Okay, so it's working. For some definition of working, it's working. Yeah, it's horrible, Matthew, but right now it's just I want to prove the concept and then I'll work out the right way to do it. Sleep is never the right way to do it. Except when you're hacking it together and you're desperate for a cup of tea. Alright, so it is up and running again on staging. We still have firejail on, but it's not doing anything. And we're running under debug, and 3, 4, 5... 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's already looking good. That's already looking pretty good. So I've got like 20 down. Now there seems to be some like delay where it starts to kick in as well. So I'm just going to hit that again. No, how about a different number? How about now? Incidentally, as we're here, I might as well have a look at what's going on here. I love the compilers. Compilers are just my favourite thing, as you probably have realised. So this trick here is how do you multiply by 127 quickly? And the answer is you multiply by 128 and subtract the original number. And ARM processors have a really sweet way of doing that. The RSB is reverse subtract. So ARM processors are 3 operand, and the first operand is always the destination. Here are the 2 sources, and the right-hand source has this barrel shifter associated with it, which allows you to sort of shift it up or down arbitrarily for free all the time. So R0 LSL #7, so logical shift left 7 times, is multiplied by 128. So that is num times 128. But we want to do, normally if this was a subtract instruction, it would be x minus y, which would mean it would be doing like original value minus original value times 128, which would give us minus num times 127. But with an RSB, reverse subtract, it's the same as a normal subtract. It's just it subtracts the second and third parameters the other way round, which is only really an encoding issue. If you could actually specify the LSL here on the second operand, that would work too. Anyway, there ends today's assembly lesson of cool things compilers do for you. Same trick there, and presumably if we do we'll see it with an add here. Yeah, so there you go. If you multiply by a power of 2 plus 1, then you get to see it do some things. Anyway, the long and short of it is this seems to be working. So I'm going to stop it again. And I'm going to vi, etc. etc. firejail wine.profile. And we're going to turn all the whinings on again and see how dreadfully wrong it goes. And I'm going to just let... So I'm rudely bringing up-to-date Austin in the other window. Alright, clicky. First compile. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th. This is looking pretty kosher. Oh, the relief is palpable. It can be palped. Whatever that is. It sounds dodgy, right? Alright, let's try a different compiler because I had some varying successes with different compilers and who knows, just random race condition-y type things. So, working hypothesis then, just a recap. Oh, isn't that interesting? Oh, because now we're in... sorry, that was ARM code, now we're in... Thank you, Panto. Yeah, I think a little bit more rigor, just a tiny bit. I mean, I've not been good recently, but we'll try. Working hypothesis is there is something about being in a different process jail, process namespace, where PIDs don't necessarily compare across jails, where if the server is running in a different PID space to the client, then potentially they get their knickers in a twist at some point and get confused. And maybe the client says, "Yo, dog, I'd like you to wait for me," and the server goes, "Okay, I'll wait for you, PID 7." And it's like, well, I'm not PID 7, am I? No, and I've just lost my screen. So you may have got a glitch on your side there. I'm going to just do something on my side with my terrible setup, which will hopefully fix the problem. Apologies if I vanish completely. I have a bit of a problem with my docking station. One sec. Okay, I am back, but whether you can hear me or see me is another issue. The poor laptop is doing its best to play catch up. And I have to hope that suddenly all of my private messages don't appear on the wrong monitor. Okay, I'm back on my side, and it looks like the world is bright on my view of myself in the past. Okay, so what was I saying before I got so rudely interrupted by hardware issues? I think we're in a good spot. I think is the long and the short here. We need to come up with a better way of waiting for the sandbox to be ready. But I have an idea about that as it happens. But first and foremost, I am going to do this. Okay, getting celebratory cup of tea. Back V soon. World's crappiest. That'll do. All right. So, my friends, yes, that's it. Luca, you got it exactly. I think I'm going to combine the server with the CMD trick that I'm doing, and then I will wait for the echo to come back out before I carry on. So you'll get to see me do some actual programming in a couple of minutes' time when I port that back to the real code base. And then we'll do a deploy, and we'll push to staging. There will be rejoicing, fireworks display, those kinds of things. But first of all, tea. Well, putting the kettle on. I'll be back in a sec. Right. The keen-eared amongst you. Ha! Hello! That's amusing. So the keen-eared among you may have realised that I was grinding some coffee. I decided that coffee is what I need right now, not a tea. Tea is more of an afternoon drink for me, and it's only 11 here. And I just need the caffeine. All your base. Somebody set us up the bomb. Ha ha ha, it's you. So I think... Does that mean that Austin's now with us? Oh, have I got a cat there? No. Yes, I have. I just saw a shape moving behind my computer as a cat. Cool. Well, we are getting there. Let me at least correct this message. There. I feel morally better. Stop playing with that cat. Oh, good girl. I have a scratching post right down by my feet, which is stupid. Okay. Well, I will need to disappear off again in a second, so I'm going to minimize this window rather than get rid of it. The occasion is we found, well, we think we know what fixed the issue that I was trying to deal with today. So I made a speculative change here, and I where wine.profile. Did I really move that out? Yeah, I'm going to move this IPC namespace. It was working before. I'm going to take it out of there and put this back inside the standard inc. HIJK. It's very important that they're in alphabetical order for me. So anyway, right, that's undone one of the other speculative changes I made, which I'm certain is not required. And we're going to bring up exec.js here. And then wine server. I think we're going to do something that was suggested by Austin, which was to combine the babysitter and the wine server together. So wait for OK becomes that one. CMD, yes. So I don't think we need a separate wine server. So I'm actually just going to call wine server. And we have a comment here, which means that the comment obviously is going to rot. I hope you can see this okay. Is the connection quality, is the text quality good enough to read, by the way? Because I did reduce the latency in the hope of making this less, making it more interactive. Okay, so we fire up a single process through to test that wine works, and once the server is running, we're going to say we run a long-lived CMD process to test. No, that's the same, and be something which holds open a working working firejail sandbox. All future wine compiles go through the same sandbox. It won't on purpose. Think that hopefully explains what's going on. So we've got let wine server, and this is now not going to be wine server process spawn, which actually means we don't need wine server to be read in anymore, which is interesting to me. I don't think we need exec prop server. Yeah, we don't. Oh, we do, because we use it to kill any existing wine server, which is a good thing to do. All right, my coffee is nearly ready. I can hear it thingamajigging in the background. Okay, so firejailed wine server, blah, 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 blah. We're not going to call this babysitter anymore. That's a silly name. Okay, that's good. Thank you, Zane. I obviously can zoom in a bit if it's a problem. It's just nice to be able to know what the limits are so that I can still program and have enough code on the screen to be useful to me without making it difficult for you. So we're going to come back, and this is going to be wine and CMD, and it's env detached equals true, which might as well go on the same line like it is down below. And so starting a new firejail long live command / wine server. Wine server complex. I don't know what to call that really. Okay, and then we're going to say initialize wine server PID equals that. Yeah, it's not really the PID. I don't think the PID is that useful. I'm just going to say firejail PID equals that. So then we're going to say initializing wine babysitter with wine. Well, we've done all that stuff. That's going to be the same command there. And critically, absolutely critically, we're going to put -- name equals wine server. All right, now I have to get my coffee back again. Where is the thing? There it is. Right. Yes, this is. Yeah, my office is in. I guess this is the playroom. So there's lots of kids crap around. There's kids stuff around, and yeah, we're fortunate enough that there is like an actual lounge over that way as well. But yeah, I have a nice view. I've got lots of light in here, so I'm not complaining too much. But it is very much the kids' room, really. Okay, so this needs to be minimized. So new firejail long-lived wine server complex. Firejail PID equals that. So this is the case of it being firejailed. We want it to be as similar as possible in the non-firejailed setup too. So we're going to make this pretty much the same. Quiet profile command, wine command. So this is this blob here goes there. We get rid of that. Okay, so we have our wine server, and I can't obviously spell child process. Okay, so wine server on, close, wine server exited. We would call this the wine server complex, as it's really the whole bunch of code. In one case it would be the CMD, in the other case it would be the firejail that runs the CMD, that runs all of the things. Standard out, standard error. So these things actually need to be, those can go, because you'll see. We can get rid of wait for OK here, because it's all to do with the wine server complex. I could probably inline that now, but it doesn't hurt anybody. All right, now the import. So this bit here is like during regular shutdown, we actually shut down that process nicely. Here is the real meat. So previously we were using that wait for OK process, which was a separate CMD. But now this needs to be the wine server itself, which is not that well named, but wine server, wine server, wine server. My computer is having a bit of a moment. You know, it is doing quite a lot of work here. It's trying to index a large JavaScript project. It's trying to encode video, stream it out, and then also decode it and show it to me again on the screen next to me so I can see roughly where you all are. Okay, so then all of these things become wine server complex wine server complex wine server complex exited with blah wine server complex exited with error blah. Okay, so that looks good to me. Let's call this CE-wine server. Why wouldn't we? And then let's extract that into a variable. And it's a const. And so we're going to call this the CE wine sandbox name. Or we'll just call it wine sandbox name. It doesn't actually be. We know that it's called that. Yeah. I keep going back to C. I use C-line all the time. Still, I put up with it most of the time. My project, I can get it working fast enough. It's just my productivity is so good without it. No, so good with it. This is IntelliJ, which is made by the same folks. Okay, we're going to put const wine sandbox name equals C wine server, so that we don't actually have to remember what it is down here. All of this apply wine env dash profile. Okay, so here we are. Wine execution via firejail. Profile equals that dash private. I don't think this makes the blindest bit of difference, but we're then also going to say base options dot push dash join. Actually, what do we test? What did we test over here? Lib exec.js join join equals wine server here. profile. I actually replaced private with that join. Okay, we're going to do the same here. I don't think it makes the blindest bit of difference. Join equals, and what do we call this? Wine something something? No suggestions. All right, fine. You be like that. Thank you. There. Okay. So I think that is the guts of the change that we want to make, and it will actually just work now because the promise that comes out of this initialization system won't be ready until the process has fired up, has run, and has outputted something magical that we're looking for in the output. So I think that will help us. And the way to test that, of course, is to run it locally. So I know anything with a green border at the bottom is on a remote machine. This one here, for example, is the local machine. Compiler Explorer. That's cool, Luca. Yeah, a lot of people have said good things about VS Code. What do I want to do here? I want to do make, dev, yes, no, but I don't want assembly, C++. And we have to test it both with and without firejail. Hi, Victor. What do you mean by click several times to select the full word? I don't quite understand. I mean, if I want to select the full word, I double click and I get that lit up there. If I triple click, I get the whole line. And if I triple click and hold, I can then select lines. Same as every other process. I mean, if you're worried about the performance here, I have 4 CPUs, and if I run top, you'll see that approximately 1.5 of them. I mean, a lot's being used by Java right now, which is the IDE, and I can't hide that. But you know, nearly 2 of my 4 CPUs is being used to record and compress the video to send out to you. And I mean, when I say I've got 4 CPUs, you know, it's 8 CPUs, but 4 real CPUs, 2 hyperthreads. So it's quite a lot of. You're changing some variable by wine server. Okay, yeah. I mean, definitely. I've had some problems without even IDE IntelliJ running with when I'm recording stuff. Where if I start typing, occasionally it gets into a funny mode where my typing is behind, and I even get like keys repeating. So there's something shonky with my machine over and above what the IDE does. But that's not to say that the IDE is without blame. Clearly. I mean, I love it. I think it's great. But I have some problems sometimes in other applications even. Okay, what we're doing? I forget. Yes, that's right. We've got this running. Okay, so something isn't working here because it looks like it's in a loop. So firejail PID equals that. Okay, error, no compilers found, no compilations will be done. Throw error, address already in use. Okay, so somewhere I already have, there it is, it's running there. So 2 things, no compilers were found, so that means that we didn't work. We didn't work, it didn't work. We work. Oh my god, look at all these compilers. Ugh. Alright. Address already in use is the actual error, unable to find compiler for that. So our execution did not work, it's running firejail. Error, cannot find sandbox CE wine server. Okay. That means that our new firejailed long-lived win server complex did apparently not work. So somewhere up here we should see it starting that. Let's try again. Oh, Webpack. Oh, no, keep going. So firejail PID equals 9062. Alright, and it looks like it worked because we see, okay, here we are, look at the output. Wine, killing any pre-existing ones, waiting for it to stop. That just means that if we were running it before and we didn't kill the last one, it should be happier. Output from wine server complex windows. That, yes, lovely. Everything is working. This is the echo command that we deliberately fire over to it. And that means that everything's fine. And so it carries on. So I Control Z'd it on purpose. Firejail -- list. Interesting. There's no name in here. We've got a whole bunch of like dead CMDs, which is not awesome. Ah, it's hot. As you might expect. Oh, these are probably having... No, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on, but we've got something up here. Oh, this is obviously not quite working. I'm going to Control C that. Firejail list. Okay. Kill all firejail. Let's try and start from a clean slate. I really don't want that to happen because the last thing I'm going to do is like have leak processes and have things running in the background forever and a day. So we know that we're running firejail -- quiet, profile equals that, private name equals that, CMD. So I would like to, I'm going to edit my local setup here to go c++.local.properties. Oh, it is just CL. Okay, so we're only using the CL compilers. I don't know where all the junk's coming from, but language C++. Is it languages C++? I think that works either way. Let's see what we get, because there was that time before when it was just restarting and restarting and restarting and restarting because it threw an exception and died. I agree about the workflow stuff, yeah. Yeah, editors are fairly fungible. Obviously, you've got the VI style editors where, you know, it's a lot more finding novel ways of editing code by looking for like differences and saying, well, how do I diff? What key presses can I do to make the change that I want to make? Okay. Cannot find sandbox C wine server.
Why can't you find it?
Everything is working. Firejail PID 9656. So we're going to have a look over here and do firejail -- list. Nothing. Okay, so our command process died, and I wonder if that's because we actually do close here, for example, we actually close the connection to it. Maybe that causes it to die now. So I'm going to get rid of that and try again. '9879, because we know that it runs. That seems to be it. Okay, so previously we were closing the standard in to the command executable, and that was for whatever reason it was still staying alive after that because it had long-lived processes. Now it seems that because we don't have a separate wine server, we definitely want that process to hang around forever. That's what we're doing on purpose. We're saying, no, you should really be running still. So we shouldn't close the door on it, and we're deliberately leaving it running. And there it is. It's the C wine server, and it's just running CMD, and it's as happy as can be. Wonderful. And I suppose we should test the compiler, right? That's what we're here for. So let's make sure we're not on the wrong thing. So localhost 102.40. And compiling, and we're squaring a number, and we're going to do +1, 3. Okay, it's good enough that it's just not totally broken, which is what I'm looking for right now. And if we go back over to the promise here, what I want to do now is shut it down and do firejail -- list. Yay, we haven't got any stray processes running around. That is news to my ears. My worry was we're going to have thousands of CMDs that were left over, or at least a CMD that was left down, but it shut down nicely and gracefully. So now I'm going to check that the non-firejailed version works. And it would be lovely to have automatic tests for these, but we don't. So I'm going to get rid of that and run that and blow my nose back in a second. Okay, it seems like it's working. I mean, my worry would be that it wouldn't even get that far if I mucked it up too much. 5. What do you say? You say... Oh, you say this takes a long time. Okay, that took 8 seconds. But it was still running Webpack. But still raising one of, like, maybe this isn't working perfectly. Let's do 6. Oh, no, it is. Okay, I think so. Let's make sure there's still at least one long-lived process running. PS AUX grep wine. So there is... of course, wine... Now you get to see everything that's running on my computer, which is obviously not that useful. Where is all the wine stuff? Okay, we're going to have to look, because my concern here is that we've lost something along the way, like that long-lived trick doesn't work here or something of that nature, but it seems to be okay. Let's find grep wine server. Okay, PS tree 10341. Oh, how do I get up from that? Is there a way of doing that on PS tree? Parents or something like that? No. All right. PS grep node. Somewhere in here is the actual node. There it is. It is 10293. PS tree 10293. Node and CMD. And then 10 nodes. So have we lost the wine server? Oh, see, look there. There's the example of the keyboard repeat suddenly going funny. Yes, Luca, the delay should be reduced because I've got it on a different setting today as an experiment. Grep wine server. So where are you coming from, little wine server? PS3 PID -S. Oh, you see? 10293, was that it? 10341. Let's find out where the wine server is coming from. S. Interesting. Now, is that just... Yeah, I wonder if we've broken something now. Proc 10341 environ. We're going to go and look at its environment and see whether it has the environment variables that we've set, or whether it's effectively been orphaned and therefore it's been adopted by System D in some way. Although it shouldn't be. I mean, I don't know how System D is, of course, the new init. So not and what? Oh, sorry. I forget how this works. Oh. Oh no, it is. Hang on. I'll get there in the end. One of these does the thing that I want it to do. Why am I having a problem? Oh, do I just need to... Oh. How frustrating for you all. PR... Oh, one of these is like that. And then from that. There we go. Gosh, how painful was that? So it is in some C wine prefix. Isn't that interesting? It does appear to be working. I don't want to lose too much sleep over this. We don't have long delays. If I shut this down and it closes down nicely, then I'll be happy. Oh, right. Thank you. Good. Right. Everything looks like it's working then. I'm happy. So 15 or 20 seconds. Yeah, so those smarter people who are hitting the staging environment with well-known 404s or with their own made-up 404s have the best chance of knowing how long the delay is. And if for those among you who are new to these streams, the screaming is completely normal. And if you can hear it, that is. I live opposite a school and it is break time. And apparently it's completely okay for small children to scream at the top of their lungs. I don't think that's the case myself. Good grief. Does anyone think we were at a roller coaster park or something? Stats for nerds says 0.0. That's interesting. Who knows where people are in the world and how the distribution backbone of YouTube works. Anyway, this to me is looking okay. The IPC namespace was a huge wild ass guess I made earlier and I've undone. So I've just said yes. The next time someone says anything in the chat, I'm going to repeat it back as soon as I've seen it. So I'm keeping an eye on it there. So sandbox name equals sign. So we've gotten rid of the wine server logs. Yeah, it's still there. I'm trying to read the chat at the same time as read this. It can't be done for what it's worth. I can only read from one input at a time. So I think this looks good. So we're going to do git add dot, and this is a run wine processes in a single shared sandbox along with their... You probably know things, but I know a little bit more. I mean, yeah, the live stuff was all very, very new. So like, I worked at YouTube, I worked at Google, and I worked on like the mobile stuff at the, over 10 years ago, excuse me, I want to say. So a lot has changed since then. Why for comment? Yes, Zane, it looks like there's about 100 millisecond startup cost to firejail, which I've somewhat mitigated by reducing the amount of work that I'm getting firejail to do for us, but it's still around that same time. We have some ideas to make it go faster, which is exciting. And I think certainly Austin has one of the people from Slack has come up with some great ideas for improving that, and I think this is this work here presages what we'll have to do, which is to have like a long-lived sandbox per user per I don't know what per like request. So maybe as we marshal a request through, we can hand off a new sandbox to each user, and then as we run C++ fillt and obj dump and any other like commands, provided they're from the same request, we can use the same jailed environment and save the startup cost, which will be fun. But yes, we definitely the delay does not scale with code size. I picked up some giant boost compilations, and they were, if anything, slightly faster under firejail than they were under Docker. So that was a nice find. So run wine process in a single shed along with wine server sandbox. Right. Keep a single long-lived CMD around, which also implicitly it would be nice, implicit right, exactly. There is the time that we were first looking at this, when Zane was on a couple of days ago, I think I didn't stream yesterday. We weren't sure whether or not there was like a per system call overhead that was causing some of the slowdown. We know that firejail does insert some eBPF filters on and AppSec things, and for all we know, every call to read was taking a millisecond longer or something, and then you could imagine it would scale with the size of the program and the work being done, certainly for I/O. So it was nice to prove that was not the case. Well, we also implicitly creates the wine server. Also re-isolate IPC. Exciting. I'm going to be sad when I have to go back to a real job, you know. This has been so much fun. You have another week or so of me doing this. What's the date today? Where are we? 17th. All right. I've actually got, yeah, all of next week and then most of the week after that. I start at the beginning of June, but I'm imagining that I have to fix up some things. I've got to do, as I think I said earlier, prepare for a guest lecture, which I'm pretty excited about, actually. I have some friends who work at the University of Chicago, and I said, hey, you know that I like giving talks, if you ever want me to come down? And they said, yeah, that would be great. Okay, so let's get that. We need more path tracing. Yes, that's another thought as well. So one of my my submissions for CPPCon are in, which means I'm sort of committed if they say yes to doing it. So I would like to do some path tracing, but I've also agreed to do an article for the ACM, and so I need to write that. That's in another window over here, and I keep looking at the corner of my eye and thinking that's what I was supposed to be doing this morning. So a lot of stuff. But yeah, I will definitely be doing some path tracing maybe next week. But you know, the main thing I want to get done, if I don't get execution into Compiler Explorer in this period of time off, it's just never going to happen, because this is the best chance I've ever had of getting it working and having concerted time to look into it. There are some UI things I definitely want to do. I've promised a friend I will do a UI change for them that will make life a bit easier for a feature that they want to bring in and would actually benefit the execution support too. I'm hoping to get to that too, but you know, there's just not enough time. It's amazing how long this stuff takes. Well, thank you for the feedback. Yeah, the C++ stuff. Can I use external libraries from Compiler Explorer? Yes, you can. Where are we? Oh, well, external, you can, pick one from the list of things that we support, which are all of these versions here, which is just another giant amount of things for us to have to worry about supporting. You can't, there is a nasty, horrible hack where you can include a URL. It doesn't work very well, but you can do it. So if you've got a single header file that you can include from a web server somewhere else, you can hash include that. I don't recommend it, only because I know how horrible the implementation is. Okay, so there's our staging environment. Let's go back to our staging environment, which is here. And if you remember, we've been running this all locally. Gareth, because we suck at user experience. Turns out if you're a assembly hacker and begrudging C and C++ programmer, you're not very good at doing like UI work. So a lot of this stuff is not that obvious. I mean, this is more obvious, I might say. But these are definitely not the most obvious things. I mean, who knows what that 11010 is? I mean, it does say what it is, but whatevs. Okay, compiler explorer.deploy. Oh, we want to go to Travis. Travis is the CI build, and the CI build is going to tell me it's building. It's going to be orange now, hopefully. There we go. It's been running for 1 minute 29 seconds, so we've got a bit long. Yeah, back up. See, my day jobs have historically been, here is a crazy network card, or here is some weird bit of rendering hardware. Can you make it work, please? And that's fun. And involves a lot of like deep, cool hardware tinkery, but it still irritates me. For example, like that. I don't know if you can see here. Have I got a magnifier? No, I don't have a screen magnifier. Thought I might have a screen magnifier, but like this box here is slightly taller than the box for the drop down, and it would be lovely if they were the same size, but I spent a long time trying to get it working, and then I gave up on it. There's also like the thingy here down at the bottom. Like if I drag out the output pane, this is great. But if I reload this page now, oh, it won't because I've closed it down. Let's do it on the staging. If I reload this page now, will it appear or will it not appear? There's a 50-50 chance. Oh, there it is. You see, like things got resized up here. I think it's because this spilled onto a new line, which also annoys me, right? Like if I make this slightly bigger, come on, there. Now they're all the same line. This fits, but I do some measuring and I don't get an up notification when things reflow. And UI is hard. One of the nicest experiences I had when I was, again, like a decade ago, working at Google, is we had a dedicated user experience person, and they were just amazing. They were amazing, and I don't now ever doubt that that having someone whose job and focus it is on the user's own experience is not a good thing. You know, that we were like a 6-person team, I think, and admittedly he was a shared resource among a couple of teams. But the YouTube mobile client came on leaps and bounds because there was somebody going like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. These buttons should be the other way round, and that would help people in discoverability, and that was just so cool. We also had a dedicated like manual test team, which, and again, the bugs that they would find were amazing. Anyway, all of this is just me padding and talking about the good old days while we wait for this to finish, because what we're going to do in a second is, well, let's clean up my logins over here. So let's go to that and log out. We only need to B0, I'm going to stop you, B0, and then B1 here, and log out. Okay, so we're logged into the admin node and the, what's it called, the staging node. And here on the admin node, I'm going to say build set current 4090, and I'm not going to press enter yet because it's not ready to go. We have an entire team to dedicated. That's awesome. Do you mind sharing where you work, Luca, if you can? I'm intrigued to know where you have a team for that. That's brilliant. And then package registry, yeah, that would be nice. So the problem with libraries is, oh, is the stream stopped? I hope not. People are chatting. It's saying excellent connection to me here, and I can see myself still. Can you let me know if you see this okay, everybody? I will wait until I can hear. I'm still getting positive feedback from YouTube that I have an excellent connection and things are actually working. Okay, thank you, Victor. Yeah, all right, thank you, Luca, as well. You see a cat? Yes, there is. There are 2 cats around somewhere. I'm surprised you can see that much through the tiny little window up here. But out there, is it? Okay, so I've just restarted the staging. No, I've just deployed the new version to staging. Oh, okay, sure. Absolutely, you don't need to share with the world. That's why I ask. I never want to put people into awkward places, but I'm always intrigued as well to learn, and especially if it's an opportunity for somebody to show off what they're doing and what their company's doing. I like to give people opportunities, but I never want to put you in a difficult situation oversharing. I'm a huge oversharer, but I try to be sensitive to other people. All right, sorry, I've confused myself now because I've got a bit flustered about that. And okay, there's that node, and now we're going to say CE instances restart. I'm going to restart the staging node. Staging. Nothing should happen, so I'm actually logged into this node here, and you can actually have a look at what's going on here in syslog. Oh, my phone has just beeped for reasons. That could be... Oh, no, yes. Haha. That was Luca PMing me. Thank you, Luca. I'll reply to you properly in a second, obviously. Okay, so it's now in standby. You should now see that yeah, now Compiler Explorer's magic is going on behind the scenes to update everything to the new version, which should overwrite all of the local changes we made as well. Favorite part about embedded work is almost no UI work. True, that is very true. Although, you know, there are some devices that have like one button that still have kind of a good feel about how they work. You know, I guess UX for whatever, rather than UI. UX is about the experience, and it could be like the feel of the button on your thumb for a little device, or you know, how long you have to hold down that one button to make it like do a full reset. Those kinds of things. I'm always intrigued by how much one can dig into that. All right, so now we don't need no need to look at var log because it's not logging there anymore. Let's go over to paper trail, which we should see. 1142 is that now? Yes. Okay, loading compiler from .winevc is the last output we've seen, and then unfortunately we are not seeing anything new coming. So I'm going to reload that page because paper trail has been a bit suspicious recent. So that's not giving me much love. The fact that it appears to be wedged. Blast. This is why we test after all. Firejail list. Oh, it does seem to be working. We're just not seemingly getting any output to the logger here. Oh, because I've got the word wine in there. Oh, Sorry, yeah, it's doing exactly what I asked it to do, which is to filter. There we go. That's what we should be seeing. Pages and pages of running this compiler, running that compiler. Yeah, good point about iPhone. Or no buttons like my beautiful Pixel. I'm such a Google fanboy. I will try my best not to be. I do try. Dear. Alright. Oh, this would be so nice to be able to say is fixed. So there is the staging environment. It's not ready to go yet. Let's tidy those things up there. Do. This takes so long. Yes, Luke, yeah, we're out of phase. Okay, it is apparently up and running, but it won't be serving traffic yet until it's got into in service over here. Get a new GCC. Yeah, it's an art form getting the compilers running. If you ever need any help with that DBZ, there are scripts galore on the Compiler Explorer image that build every version of GCC known to mankind and some not known to mankind. Most of the time it's straightforward. If it's a new version of GCC, it usually just works, but I've also seen people have all sorts of problems. I, for example, took a long time to make sure that my version of GCC had its own in-tree bin utils, its own in-tree gold linker, and it supported link time optimization, which meant it had all the plugins and stuff, and then that was just beautiful. I could ship this tarball around. Sorry, it's a very loud cat noise. Just wary of my cats bringing in small animals at spring, and there are a lot of naive young animals out there that are easy prey for my cats, who are beautiful, but do like to do the things, catch animals, natural things cats do, unfortunately, as cute as they are. Okay, I'm excited by this. I'm going to click the button. Ready? Yeah, everyone ready? Clear cache and recompile. It worked once, twice, 3 times. It's working. 19.0 was actually quite a reasonable one before. Let's do this one. Oh, what do you think, everyone? Can we declare victory? I don't know, how many times do we run the compiler before we go, it doesn't seem to be working. Oh, this feels good. I feel pretty, oh so pretty. Oh, I better not sing copyrighted things, right? Otherwise YouTube will demonetize this. Obviously, I make a huge amount of my resources off of these streams. Although actually, my YouTube stream on the Wolfenstein 3D thing has now made about $50. I'm like, wow. So I think I tipped over some point where beautiful tiny murder mitten machines. Yes. Oh, Maya can just see she's just gone across the road to the school. She loves getting attention from the kids across the school. Strange cat. Yeah, $50, right? That's not to be sniffed at, right? That's a night out. All from just me talking about Wolfenstein 3D. I think I made it onto the home screen for something, and then I just got like a giant number of responses. But anyway, all this is covering for the fact that this seems to be working. What do we see in the back end here? We're seeing posting. Everything looks lovely. Econ reset. Sure. Don't care about econ reset particularly. Was that me clicking this? I wonder if it was me clicking that multiple times. Is that now popping up in there? No? There it is. It just works. Can you folks consider streaming part-time? Yeah. Oh, well, thank you, Victor. I'd love to keep this up. I might have to do it in the evenings, though. Obviously, I'll be working during the day. The evening's my time, of course. I'm GMT minus 5, 6? My GMT minus 6 here in Chicago. So it would be like a daft, if I did it like between 9 p.m. my time, which is hopeful given trying to ferry the children into bed, 9 p.m. and like 11 p.m. That would be 4 to 6 a.m. GMT. That's not much good for European peoples. Hi, Chaitanya. I hope I've got that right. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I'm delighted when new people find Compiler Explorer. I thought I'd reached saturation, but I still keep getting people saying, "Hey, I just found your site. I can't believe I haven't found it." Like, it's been around for 6 years. I mean, I thought everyone who knew about it, who could know about it, knows about it. Streaming part-time, set up on Ubuntu. Yes. Are you talking about GCC? Yes, I've only ever built it on Ubuntu or Red Hat or other Linux distributions. I've never built GCC on Windows. I haven't really used Windows for the last sort of decade or so. Still tend to get a local version of C running on your Windows box to play with. It should be relatively straightforward, although it's not as well tested as it used to be. Especially if you have the Windows subsystem for Linux, it should just work-ish. If you don't have the Windows subsystem for Linux, it is possible to get it working, but the make files that do a little bit of the behind-the-scenes stuff don't work. There are readmes for that. Ha! So someone's saying, Juvenile 1228, 8 years ago I made a video that got around 500,000 views and I made a whole $200 over like 5 years. And then, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. It's definitely not, it's not something that I do for the money. But if there is money to be made, I'm happy to take $20 here and there, if only just to justify to my wife why I spend so much time on my computer. Cool. Yeah, Gareth, it should work relatively straightforwardly. There are some documents in the docs directory that explain a bit more about it, but I think this is looking good. Let's reload staging, because at the moment I've just realised this C++ thing was grayed out, which means it's only got C++ library. Language supported. Yeah, no, we have got all the languages there. Excellent. Clicky. I think we're good. I'm going to release this. I'm going to release this to production. So I'm just going to let everybody know in the C implementation channel. We have a fix. Yay. Releasing to prod. Right. Just good hygiene for me to let the other folks know. Okay, so we know that 4090 is the version we want to do. We're going to say env prod build set current 4090 prod. Yes. Master. Yes. That is now set. Env prod instances restart. Oh, and then this is usually where I go away and leave and go and make a cup of tea. And then I come back and go, cool, we've released. And I'm like, oh, no, we haven't. It's still asking me to type the name of the environment. You know, the are you sure that this is prod? Yes. So the production site is now being restarted. So if you're on regular godbolt.org, you should... I think the message of the day should be updated. Let's have a look. Oh, you can't see it here because it's on this blown up screen, it's too wide. The site is being updated. That's what I wanted to see. Hooray. And then after that, we should, if it doesn't restore the old message of the day, for those who've been hitting the site recently, you see it's been complaining that we've had these wine issues. I think we can say that they're fixed. An extension for compiler Oxford set up for Visual Studio Code. Yeah, that would be cool. So, Luca, you were just saying you tried to get it working and it would rather do it in Linux. Yeah, I'm afraid I had some help from somebody from Microsoft. Andrew Pardo helped me a lot to get... Well, he just did it. I should say he helped me. He did the work to get it working on Windows Subsystem for Linux, but I never tried it out. I was going to say I don't have Windows anymore, but I do actually have it on this laptop in the smallest partition I can possibly get it in, just so that occasionally from time to time, when I need to boot up and get like Lenovo-specific stuff to flash, for example, the docking station's BIOS, separate from the computer's BIOS, I can't do that from Linux. I can do everything else from Linux, but I can't flash the docking station. Yay, site's being updated. I can boot into Linux for that. And I actually had it running on a VM so in the pile of crap behind me over there, there's some Lego Mindstorm stuff. So for my kids' schools, I coach their first Lego League, which is a kind of robot wars competition using Lego Mindstorms. It's cool. It's pretty fun. But the robots don't fight each other. They have to perform certain tasks. But unfortunately, the Lego Mindstorm software only works on Windows. So I was running it in a VM. And to be honest, it's not a great experience. All right, we're waiting for here. So we've got... I don't know how many instances we've got running at the moment. Let's go find out. to the AWS. I have a command to do this, but frankly I'm looking for things to talk about and do while we wait. EC2. We should be on the instances. 5 running instances. 5? Prod. We have 3 instances running in prod right now. That's annoying. I've been given... that's actually something I've been thinking about. I need to check, and that is the bill. Because I've gotten a billing alert. My billing dashboard. There's honestly nothing I don't think that I can't share here. Yeah, so at the moment it reckons it's going to cost me nearly $500 this month just for AWS. And I don't know why that is. That's higher than normal. Now, I did accidentally leave the building node on longer than I would normally leave it on. And that's an expensive node. Excuse me. So maybe I mucked that up. All this stuff. Anyway, all right. Well, anyway, it's not astronomical. It's normally about $400, but 500 is a bit more than normal. So what happened here? Yikes. Oh, that was, I think... So $70 for a single day? What's gone on? Whoa, look at that! Since April 1st, you have saved nearly 85 cents as a result of my reserved instance purchases. It's pretty elite, right? 73, 78. Alright, I need to look at what that was. I bet you I left the builder node on there. And you'd think I'd have a fix for that, but no, I'm not the smartest. Okay, are we still going? That's taking longer than I would like. So I'm going to get rid of this Amazon.staging. Let's just go to Amazon and see what's going on. Oh, I know what's going on here. Oh, sugar. Yes. So one thing that I changed, and I totally forgot last night, you know, making last minute changes. Your old school had a robot for robot, like the proper actual TV robot was with Craig Charles in the UK, or you don't have to say where you are, but yeah, that's awesome. Very, very, very cool. But yes, what was I saying? So last night, while my wonderful wife was tolerating me tapping away on the laptop even more while we watched some TV, I updated the image to use a new version of Windows. Windows, no, gosh, just thinking about Windows then. A new version of Wine, which of course is the Windows emulator. Wine is not an emulator. So, and I updated all of the nodes except for the production nodes to use the base instance that had the most up-to-date version. Oh, here comes a cat again. And I haven't updated the production nodes because they were running. So let's do that. And you can see them here. This is the AMI. This is some magical thing that I built. And staging and beta both use that in AMI, but production does not. So we're going to put that in production. And then we're going to go over to here. Microsoft image, Terraform. And we're going to do Terraform. No. Terraform plan. Say, yo, what do you need to change to make this work? The proper one with Craig Charles, yes. My kids love that. And we're in America here. My children are. Is that what I expected? Yes. What? No, I don't. Yeah, no, that's right. Okay. Terraform apply. Yeah, we're in America, and my kids have been over here essentially all of their life. My kids are like 9 and 11, and we've been here for, well, just under 9 years. So they're both British, born in Britain, but we love watching British TV shows. Yeah, the quality, but yeah, I don't know. It's still fun. It's a fun thing to watch, and we like it when it's on. And there is an American equivalent. It's filmed out on the West Coast though, so we were trying to get tickets at one stage because the kids loved it so much. Did it only die for you? Oh, yeah. You're talking about the stream, or are you talking about the the stream. Oh, okay. So far, so good over here. It still tells me excellent connection. And there are 35 people watching. That's so heartwarming. Thank you. I don't know quite what you get out of this, but I'm glad you get something out of it. Enough to be here, so I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm surprised my network hasn't gone down. I've got pretty decent internet connection here, but I have recently been seeing problems around like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. Something just it drops out for a bit. And I don't know why. So I don't know if this will ever actually work, because I think the instance is broken. So I'm going to manually log into this instance behind the scenes. Actually, I'm going to just kill that instance. No, I'm going to actually Control-C that. Ugh. And then try again. Because we've now updated the configuration, the launch configuration. We need to actually restart those instances. Actually, you know what? I don't think this is going to work. I don't think my usual way of restarting instances is going to pick up that change to the launch configuration, because it's going to try and reuse the same instances. See, I don't know how you can do that, Guillaume. You say it's relaxing listening to someone programming something interesting while you're programming. I was trying to explain to a non-technical person what the heck this was all about, and I suggested that might be happening, and then I thought to myself, that's like being in like trying to play music, but listening to someone else playing a different piece of music somewhere else. I don't know how you could do it. I'm actually going to stop all of that. We're going to go and do this manually, because my scripts aren't smart enough to do this the right way. So forget my cost reports and go to EC2. Oh, the Dara O'Brien. Yeah, see, I like him. My kids like him as well. Yeah, the Craig Charles ones, obviously, I'm just thinking of, like, yesteryear. Okay, so it looks like some nodes are restarting by themselves here. We might be in a bit of... This might be a bit of a faff to get stuff working. The easiest thing I can do right now is at least one of these nodes comes from a set of, like, nodes that I bid upon, this auto scaling group here. Come on, there should be a spot prod. Yeah, this one here, spot prod. We're going to edit you and say, look, we don't, no, not you. We don't want any of those right now. That's one fewer thing running immediately. Then over here, we've got 3 instances and 1 is desired. Let's go and try and fix this up. What have we got in here? These are in standby, so what I should do is put them, get rid of the scaling protection from them, set to in service, yes, set to in service as well. So we should actually have some stuff that's sort of firing back up again, but they will fail, probably. And if they fail for long enough, the regular Amazon process killer will kill them. I'm really pleased that you can do that. That's I don't know how you could listen to someone else talk, especially me, gibbering around with my increasingly sniffy setup. So yeah, what we've done now is we've just aborted the automatic restart, and we're going to go with letting Amazon do it, figure it out itself. Now we need to work out which of these is the actual launch configuration that we want. So let's go and have a look at our launch configurations wherever they are hiding here. Find the new one. And the new one is created today here. So this, we want the okay, so these are 714. They have a 714 somewhere here. Like, that's where I'm looking. 99714 is what we're looking for. So we're going to go back to our ASGs, and we're going to say, hey, prod, 99714. So this one's healthy and running, which means I think this one is okay. So I'm going to detach you. Yes. And I'm going to detach you. And we should get 2 instances turn up in here. Oh my. 2 instances that should turn up in here that are now orphaned, and I can kill them. You work from home. Yeah, I guess so, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. If just having the background noise makes sense to me. But if you, I know I've seen a lot of you have been contributing so much to this. You know, you're actually paying attention. You're reading my code. You're saying, "Hey, you've got a typo there." So I know that there are some of you that are not like just using this as background noise, which of course is totally fine. But people who are actually actively, participating, and I appreciate both types of listener, viewer, whatever you are. So we have more prod nodes now than I know what to do with. Some of which I've just removed from the load balancer, which is perhaps foolish. Can I work out whether these are in target groups or not from here? Because I need to work out which ones they are to kill them. That was silly. Alright, let's go and work out which ones are in the ASGs. Infected mushroom, absolutely. Yeah, I see. That's one thing I don't have is the ability here to listen to music, which is unfortunate, as I don't want to incur the wrath of the YouTube gods. Oh, hi, cat. You come to say hello? Are you just enjoying the nice feel of the rug on there? All right, so we have one that's terminating. In production, we have one desired now. So everything should calm down. So we want to kill anything that isn't ID 955FC1. I suppose actually what I should do before I get too excited about killing stuff is make sure the site is actually up and running. I should get a giant alert. Yeah, I've thought about the headphones things, but then I know I'll end up singing along to it. I mean, I've got headphones here, and you'll see me wearing them. There's nothing coming out of them. But that's a good idea. Maybe I should go with that, and then I can at least listen to something. Thank you, Matthew. Then I'll be... Exactly. That's true. Uh-oh. Gateway timeout. Okay, I think we broke the site. Whoops. I think we broke everything. Let's get a spot instance back up again. And then hopefully we'll have definitely a totally fresh, new, shiny instance that is definitely healthy. Whereas here we currently have apparently this one is terminating. We've got some instances over here that aren't working. And what does paper trail say? Paper trail is saying that it's getting some hits, but you can see we haven't seen any Amazon hits for a while. That is unfortunate. So I think we have actually broken everything right now. Boo-hoo. If there's nothing immediately coming up inside the auto scaling group that looks like it's going to come along and save the day. I know we've just launched that one in EC2. Yeah, Matthew, that's a good trick actually. If we haven't got, so we've got one in the spot prod that's apparently starting up, and it's healthy. We've got something in the. I want to go to the load balancer. Actually, I want to go to target groups, but well, we'll get there in a second. But the fact that you are unwell over here, I'm going to give it another couple of moments. I'm going to have to tweet something out to say that I busted all, if I haven't already gotten alerts. Normally I get alerts if it goes down. Blast. Okay, this is looking not good. You health checks. See, you think it's healthy. Staging. Prod, unhealthy. They're both the prod instances are unhealthy, apparently, because the request timed out. So we have lost them. Okay, I'm tweeting out something now. I apologize, everybody. Tweet deck. And I can't see through my microphone, so sorry for the bouncing noises as I'm moving it out of the way. Okay. Tweet as compile explore. All right. So we have we've let the world know that I've broken everything. So these two are unhealthy. Now the worrying thing for me is that we're not really seeing anything coming out at all here. It's like those nodes haven't started up properly at all. So we're going to have to just go in and log into one manually. So let's go to the prod instances. So prod targets, pick one at random. It's apparently initializing still, so let's not go with that one. Well, maybe we should. It's in the clipboard now, so we're going to go to that one. Maybe it's not up even remotely yet. Thing is, I'm going to get alerts as they get taken down. Target groups, yes, target groups, prod. Let's try that one.
On that one?
Okay, we'll grab the private IP, SSH Ubuntu at that one. Connection refused. What is going on? Why? Have you only just started up? It's in the right security group, inbound rules. Are you shutting down now? I don't know what's going on with that. That's really quite disturbing, you know, everybody. Let's try public IP then. I'm going to try the public IP from my local machine here. Ubuntu at that. Connection refused. Bollocks. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, I'm afraid so. Well, this is deeply disturbing. I don't know what's going on here. It's a C5 large. That doesn't seem right either. Let's back up a bit and think about what's going on. This is prod. Prod target group has 2 unhealthy nodes in it. They're unhealthy because both of them apparently... I mean, this is still initializing. This is the T3 medium. That's the one I'm expecting. That's like a regular, normal chap. So we're going to just try getting to this one then. But why is it still initializing? Connection refused. Okay. We... see what the heck's going on here. Reached... you're in emergency mode. Why are you in emergency mode? Okay, so the nodes are booting and they are ending up in some emergency mode. Press enter for maintenance. So presumably this is a read-only view. It is. Okay. To the Google. Alright, I'm going to at least update the Twitters with what's going on here. Let's reply as the as me. For some reason, a new base image is starting up in emergency mode. Continuing to investigate. Okay, you are in emergency mode. AWS. See, that looks bad. That looks super bad. I mean, I have monkeyed with those things, but we've just restarted the staging configuration with this. So I have no idea at all why that would work for staging, but not for production. There's nothing else different between those machines. So I'm really genuinely hoping it's just one of those things. Right, I'm getting notifications now. So we have some prod instances that are running off the old image, okay. We've got this one that's booting up. Let's go and have a look at its... come on. Show... Get system log here. So this is still starting up. So that one's shutting down. This one over here is still apparently not doing anything. Why would that suddenly start happening? So we've got this AMI ID, which is the thing we've changed. So this is the one that's 4B27. Let's have a look at staging. No, let's look at staging, not edit its name. 4B27. So staging is started up just fine with the exact same image, and there's no other differences between these that I can think of, right? That's what Terraform is supposed to give me for free. And the only difference between them is the between the old and the new version is the version of wine. I just changed it, and it seems fine. I suppose we'll probably let people know in here. Yeah. As you can tell, I'm floundering a bit here. This one's now apparently running, so can we have a system log now? There's no system log for that one. Maybe that's one of the ones that I detached earlier that's not actually part of this. So these are unhealthy because they're still not starting up right. Right, you... We were lucky that we got the system log that we did to give us a clue as to what the heck's going on here, right? Oh, this one's booted up now. It's working now. We changed nothing, right? There's nothing up my sleeves. I wonder if it was a momentary glitch in AWS? Maybe the EBS drives that it was attached to were broken in some way. Yeah, I've obviously gone quiet here as I'm now thinking more in my head than out loud. But it seems like, let's have a look at this. Yeah, like it's running now. You saw me. I changed nothing. I mean, I've seen EBS drives fail before at work. I've never had them happen to me in my projects here. So maybe that's what would happen here. Right. Okay. Phew. Serving files. That means that one of these should. There's a glonk telling me something interesting is going on. Let's go to the target groups and check the health there. Healthy. We have one healthy node. We have one healthy node, and we're going to refresh here. And we're back. Okay. Right. So let's just let the world node should be back now. All right. I'll do a proper write-up of what the heck happened there, but this is really annoying. This is an outage. I haven't had an outage for a long time. Let's go and have a look. Analytics, paper trail, stat hat, status cake, I think is the thing that manages these. Let's see if it even noticed that we were down. 1 day uptime. Apparently it didn't notice. That's not a great sign, is it? Ugh. Freebie things. Right, you go away. You're working. And look, wine worked. That's even more important, right? That's what we're here for. Let's just do a few of these. No, I don't want folding. 3, 10, 12. Refresh a few times. This is definitely not the... Alright, so this site is being updated is now here because I control-C the usual process, which normally sets it and then unsets it at the end. So I'm cool with that. Let's log out of that. Let's try and take stock of where we are. We have 2 production instances, one of which is apparently unhealthy. Let's go and have a look at that now and see if this... Oh, it's shutting down. So, of course, let's... If we can grab its settings, get system log... Press enter for maintenance. You're in the key fingerprint is you're in emergency mode. I don't know why it thinks it's in emergency mode. Let's look back and see if we can't see any startup reason why it went into... Aha! Found ordering cycle on... Aha, it could be a random thing now because something to do with that horrible bind mount that I had to do. Found an ordering cycle on RPC GSSD to service start. That's interesting, isn't it? Alright, I'm copying all of this. In fact, why don't I copy the whole thing? Can I get the whole thing? Control A? No, that would be far too useful, wouldn't it? Ugh. Alright, well, there's something to worry about another time. So the etc. I'll show you what I'm... No, let me copy this somewhere first, because that appears to be the problem. Or at least it's... Oh, come on. Butter affairs, found ordering cycle here. No. Copy. Let's go into... Excuse me, VI CE error. Oh, you swine. Copy didn't work from that. Isn't that the worst? Let's just... Where was that error? Here, here's the rest of them here. Okay, we'll grab those. In fact, let's grab all of that and then copy. So I reckon there's an ordering issue here, and then it's kind of pot luck whether it works or not. So I'm going to save that. We've got something to look at in a second, but let's go and see where I suspect the problem is. And I'm sorry, I've alt-tabbed away from the chat, so I haven't spoken to you all. Yes, the message is still there. Sorry, I'm playing catch up with everything here. So the first thing I want to do is look at all the instances we have running and make sure we can account for them all, because there's a ton of them up now, and some of them were detached from the auto scaling group, which means is there an auto scaling group? Auto, can I search by that now? Okay, no, apparently not. But it would be in prod. So whatever we've got in prod here, if we've got a running T3 medium in prod, so T3.medium, can I search by that? That would be useful, wouldn't it? And instance state running. Okay, so we have 4 instances that are running. And now if on a separate window, what am I... Window. So yes, separate window. I want to get up the auto scaling group or the target groups. Yeah, middle click Matthew. You're probably right. That probably would have worked fine as well, but okay.
Come on, load up, please.
Prod has targets that it has 3 targets, only one of which is healthy, presumably because these are all having the same problem of like restarting and not always working. So we need to fix that. Although I need lunch first. So we know that if it's not DEE, E7F or 913, then it should be killed. So this first top one here, 29A, goodbye. Image, instance state, terminate. Yes, 429A is definitely not one of those. It's a T3 medium. It's gone. Okay, E7F, right. So E7F is being managed by this target group. 2D9 is not being managed by this target group, so we're going to kill you as well. So if I remember rightly, there were 2 of these. Instance state, terminar, terminate. And then DADEE, daddy. Okay, so at least now all of the assets that are in the instances pane are being managed by something that I trust enough. And the carnage sort of will end. Let's go and now look and see if we can't fix the underlying problem. So back to the shell, and we're on, we need to find the one working node, whichever one it is, because it won't be killed, or it shouldn't be killed. So back to target groups, back to prod, healthy node is daddy. Daddy is this private IP, click, paste, SSH, Ubuntu at, I guess I could use the command line tools for this actually. Here we are, var log syslog. We know at startup there was probably a problem with this one too, but it decided to work okay. So cycle I think was, yeah, here we go. Found ordering cycle on systemd temp files setup stop. Found dependency on opt wine, opt mount stop. Maybe that's not it, you know. Yeah, found ordering cycle. That's the last thing it said was here. But it didn't complain about emergencies. Let's have a look. What do we have in here? Found ordering cycle. Dependency failed for opt wine stable. Right, that makes sense to me because that is the thing I changed. So dependency failed, wine stable, mounting opt wine stable, mounting opt. See, this is great. That's the order it should have done things in. Now, I wonder if there's a number I need to change in the configuration. Of course, we don't have the blessed full log anymore because what I'd like to see is the error message for that. But let's hope one of these other ones that's failed. Can I still get the instance settings? Get system log. Oh, I can. Oh, that's joyous. Now, ideally, select all. Please to select all. Don't make me do this. I'm going to do this, you know. Copy. Is that going to work? Let's just copy element. Okay, what do I get? What do I get when I paste it in? Yay! Isn't that terrible? All right, we have a copy of that now in some dreadful form over here. So I want to look at the mounting. Oh, C-Slack. Thank you, Pantiful. Oh, thank you, Pantuful. Thank you. You did this again. We clearly have a deep connection. You're just always a little bit ahead of me. I need to speak to somebody. I've just realised someone has been asking me questions. I need to get back to them over here. Jason's asking me things. I will ignore him for now. Sorry, Jason. We need to get this working. Okay. So this is now the full working version that Pantuful has also sent me directly in chat, which is very good of him. Very good of you, Pantuful. I'm sorry. I'm trying. I'm having a bit of a bad moment right now. Yeah, we want to look for opt. No, we want to look for wine-stable. Stopping. See, it looks like... Okay, I'm going to look at what Pantuful sent me, because I think that's probably better than what I have here. Okay, fulllog.txt. Alright, let's bring this onto the correct monitor. Hey, look at it. That's pretty sweet, thank you. So let's search for, what are we looking for here? We're looking for wine-stable. And the first thing we see is all of this nonsense going on here. A start job is starting. Okay, so this is the failing case. It seems to found device dev ttys blah blah blah. Mounting mount unit for Amazon SSM agent, which again we're ignoring. So let's compare that with the working case here. So I'm going to search backwards in the working case for started, set the keyboard. Okay. App armor initialization, commit. See, there's a huge difference in the way that this started up. Well, I need to go back over to YouTube so I can see what you find people are saying. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Yeah. Well, it's kind of, that's what's happening behind the scenes right now, is that those instances that will go unhealthy, they'll be killed, and another one will start up, and eventually one will succeed. Isn't that interesting? It looks to me like /opt, which is being mounted from the network. It looks like /opt failed to mount /opt is the key, and then once that failed, everything else fails. Unsurprisingly, if I can't get /opt working, then everything that depends upon it isn't going to work. Is there any mention of wine stable in here? Dependency failed. So it worked out. Dependency failed for remote file systems. So it looks like just mounting didn't bloody work, which is arg. I don't know what to do about that. That doesn't seem to be related. So my thoughts was the change that I had made to mount something special over the top of /opt wine stable was the problem. But it looks like that fails. The mounting process fails beforehand. Which may, like given the fact that Amazon's so good at restarting things that fail, this may have been happening for a while and we just didn't notice it. Ugh. Where are we now anyway? Oh, we've evidently broken the UI here completely. Maybe because it's gone away. All right, let's go to our auto scaling groups. What do we have inside the auto scaling groups? Did the network not start? That would explain everything, Alexander. That would be if that was a problem. Okay, spot prod. I bet you we have an instance in here that has. Oh, no, it's terminating. Okay, we have two instances in prod. They are both healthy. We have one instance in spot prod that's in service that is healthy, and the other one was unhealthy. So I'm assuming that one failed to start up too. How irritating. So yeah, let's look again at the output that Alexander pointed out, which is that network may have failed, which would make a lot of sense too. So I'm just going to start from top and search for network. network. So registered elastic network adapter, found dependency on ordering. So yeah, again, ordering cycle found. That seems to be more of like a thing. Skipping network is online. So maybe there is just something that sometimes works okay because it, depending on how the cycle is broken by whatever this thing's called, System D. God, I'm not very good at this. That it starts the network before it starts mounting remote file systems or not. So let's search for, in the working case, network is online. Reach target network is online. And that happens pretty early on. Yeah, after all the BIOS stuff. Alright, let's search for in here for cycle. Ordering. Found ordering cycle. But that happens way later on. Right, here System D says found ordering cycle. Yeah, that seems to be the case, Alexander, that it was. But why it's, different, I don't know. So, like, clearly I'm starting and... Oh... Okay, health ping, reloading. System D's reloading a bunch of times. Maybe we upset System D by reloading it while it's starting up. Because something that I do during the setup does actually affect System D. So maybe we've always had this problem and I just never noticed it before. Normally when we do like a controlled rerun, obviously we just keep restarting the same nodes. We don't actually see a problem with... hey, Luca. Yeah, I think there's something deep and dark and mysterious going on inside of here where the fact that as part of the Compiler Explorer service, we do actually change the service system, I could imagine that upsets things, right? If I show you what I mean, here in Compiler Explorer image, as part of setup.sh, which is run as part of the pre-startup, there is this stanza here, and this here, right? We actually reinstall ourselves as a service as part of the setup. So I probably need to not do daemon reload while it's running. Yeah, I think you're right, Alexander. Yeah, I don't know how best to do this, though. I don't know how best to do this because this is currently the mechanism by which it causes... Right, we use the same setup to reinitialize when we... Yeah, I guess we just have to work on it. If I actually change these things here, it's very rare. I think probably I should use a diff and only do these if there's actually a difference, right? If anything actually would have changed if I were to install these files. So that means that the first time it runs, which is not run from System D, then these things don't happen. Unless I can defer these things, I don't know. Is there a way of deferring a command until after System D is finished running? Yeah, my System D knowledge is squat. Diddly squat. Well, I think we have a theory about what's going on here. I think this makes sense. Alexander, you're right. Reloading System D while it's starting up is probably extremely dodgy and should not be used. So that's something that needs to be fixed. That said, right now, thankfully, the site is back up and seems stable. I'm not getting loads of like bongs of things going on in the... Oops, let's get rid of that. No celebrations anymore. Yeah, we're running nicely, but we know that there's a problem. That said, excuse me, that problem has always been there. It may have been exacerbated by a recent change where I now make Nginx part of that, and so I restart Nginx during startup. You can imagine that being problematic too. So I'm going to make the changes here. So let's do this. If diff then, now I have to remember which way round that goes. So, man diff, makes me laugh. Return value, oh, I think it's probably just easier. System could, oh, what? Oh, okay. So Austin is just who's on the stream. I presume. I think I know who Austin would be on the stream, but I don't want to like reveal people's real names and all that kind of stuff. But is system running -- wait? Let's run man. Is system running or is system running? Synchronously wait for started units to terminate again. This may be combined with no block. I don't know if that is the right thing to do. Check whether the system is operational. So return success when the system is fully up and running, specifically not in startup, shutdown, or maintenance mode, and with no failed services. That seems to be a good thing to do. I don't think we need to do -- wait, because that would block the boot process. It would be like while you're in the middle of the boot process, then you would block, unless I'm missing something. So I've got too many things to look at. So I think possibly is system running. Failure is returned otherwise when they're fully up and running. So I think we can probably just do if not it system cuttle is system running then, and then we'll do all of this stuff. That kind of covers us for these cases. It does mean that that only happens during the one-time startup. So if I change the Nginx configuration, wait until the system's boot before you installs yourself. Right, it's already in systemd at the time, so that this is the problem. Maybe it's just because I'm conflating two things. This setup script here is both used to configure the instance to begin with. Maybe I should just stop doing that. It just seems dumb. Why am I doing this every time round? I think... Yeah. I'm going to change this whole thing. Yes, undo back there. And we're not actually going to do any work at all. Right, if not, then echo system is not yet up. Not reinstalling phi, and then we're just going to do, exit door. So I'm going to explain this out loud, which is just also going to allow for the lag of anybody saying, no, that's not what I meant. So the intention here is that as part of the normal installation, when I build a compiler explorer instance, I want it to install itself, and I'm using setup to do that. Yeah, I don't like this. And then whenever the compiler explorer instance restarts, it also reinstalls itself, which allows me to do stuff like add in and change configuration options. But just don't do that. All right, I'm getting rid of that. I'm just going to stop it from doing that. Full stop. So that this works here by this pre-start. Firing up. And this pre-start is the thing that actually does the exec setup.sh. And I don't think I should do that. Go, bye pre-start. You're not going to do anything anymore. We don't have a pre-start anymore because we shouldn't, right? We shouldn't do it this way. Then we need to make sure that the Packer installation that actually sets up the show runs setup.sh. And it does. It does run setup.sh. So I think we can achieve the goals we need in a different way. So we won't do this every time upon startup, and I'll have to remember that that's now changed. We will only do it excuse me, during the installation process, and that's kind of the case anyway. That also means I can get this also means I can get rid of this horrible, if not updated stuff, but I'm going to leave that for now. Yeah, we can get rid of that. That was me fiddling around. So we should be back to normal in this one here. Thank you, Victor. Thank you. I've got to go soon too as well. I really need to have something to eat. So I think we're good with this. Excuse me. So this is more like this is like install. And why would you install it while it's booting up the system every time? That's dumb. We just shouldn't be doing that. I think also that setup common doesn't need to do anything. Let's just make sure there's nothing I'm relying on that setup common is doing each time we reboot. Food is always a good idea. This is very true. Home Ubuntu, do the needful things, log. Yeah, all of this stuff I think is just fine. This is all one-time configuration stuff. Alright, let it be known this is the new way of things being done. So, I am going to check that in. Kill that. So we have two changes here. We've deleted some things. Right, this is update launch configuration fig for prod, and I'm going to check that in separately. lc.tf. Then I'm going to do git. Honestly, there's nothing that could have been broken, but and now we're going to say no longer run setup.sh during startup. This previously meant that we restart stroke reload systemd while systemd is starting up. Okay, I have to remember now that I've changed the world a little bit. I can git push that. Be nice if I could talk. And now I can do make pack. We're going to make yet another new image, and we're going to test this in the staging environment, and we're going to boot it a couple of times and see what happens, and develop some confidence that this is working. Which would be nice, right? And I should probably reply and say, site back up. We think we know why, and why it went down, I should say, not why it's back up. Went down and are fixing. Thanks for your patience. And then in my sort of strange split brain world, I am going to retweet that as me rather than Compiler Explorer. And I'm also going to add in wine issue ought to be fixed now too. Excellent. I try and keep things going between, not going, I can't use the right word, so what am I saying? Try and separate so that Compiler, if you don't want to listen to the things that I tweet about that are nothing to do with programming, you can listen to Compile Explorer and still get all of the useful announcements and stuff. I've had some not great feedback from other people whose opinions I don't necessarily agree with, but who were less keen on the things that, as my personal account, that I like and favourite and retweet. So I thought, well, I'll separate those so that I can continue being me in my stream, but for those who don't like the kind of things I retweet, they can follow just Compile Explore. And I can show you how slow I am at Rubik's Cubes while I wait. Alright, come on. I guess we should check that wine issue again, because we played around with it a bit at the beginning. So here we are at staging. What is that? Oh, Camelot. Oh, golly. Oh, I just don't want to get confused. Reload! Reload! Okay, still working. Still working. Yes. Let's get me a new terminal. Site. Update being prepared. Semi AFK getting lunch if I do that, I am going to sort of disappear. I will be here, and you can stare at the packet output like I will be, but I'm going to grab some food and hit the bathroom. Gosh, listen to me. I've gone native. Yeah, Twitter has mostly been okay for me, but I appreciate that I am in a demographic for whom Twitter is not hostile towards. So, and my only bad experiences with Twitter have been when I have stood up for or promoted ideas which are more open to those people who don't look or act or think like me. Well, they maybe think like me. Sorry, don't look or act like me. Or, you know what I mean. Minority groups, should we say. And that's when I get a little taste of what it must be like to be in those minority groups in Twitter, and that was a bit of an eye-opener for me. So, I mean, those who have seen some of my talks, I've worn T-shirts before now, and had some bad feedback. Bad feedback. Had some unfortunate comments about my choice of T-shirt, just because the T-shirt was like, hey, C++ is for everybody, right? And you'd think, how could anyone disagree with that? But the internet. Okay, I am going to do the needful thing now. I will be back very shortly. Thank you, and I'll be back. And I just realised that I'm not going to have lunch because I agreed to go out for lunch with my wife. So I'm glad I remembered that before I ate anything. Let me... Google find... Something... New motor... So a side effect of living opposite the school is that I also run a public Wi-Fi hotspot here. I get notifications when people leave or join my network, which I didn't want, but I want them for my own personal network, but it appears to apply to both the personal private network and also my open one. And so I just keep getting notifications of, hey, some random iPhones have joined the network. So yes, when my wife gets back from helping out at the school, I will be vanishing to get some lunch, but hopefully we can get this fixed before then, so I don't have to expose to her how sad my life is when she's not here. So there goes the building of the appropriate version of firejail. It's quick enough that I just do it every time, rather than the extraordinarily over-the-top system I used to build the compilers. Okay, so the instance that built the image is now done what it needs to do. It's got 38 people viewing me, just waiting for my build to finish, while I badly solve a Rubik's Cube as well. It's one of those things it was a life goal of mine to learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube. I have my way now. It's pretty straightforward. It's not very quick, as you can see. Like, I'm nearly there, but haven't quite gotten there yet. And then I keep looking at the sheets that teach you how to do it even faster. And it's alluring, but I have enough time sinks in my life without that as well. Plus I'm old, and it's hard to learn new things. And just a nice thing to be able to idly pick up a Rubik's Cube and solve it and leave it on someone's desk. Oh, it's the worst case. Well, nearly there. It is a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock. Then more copyright violations of me singing badly. Cool. All right, last one. Nearly there. Yay! One solved cubic. Rubik's Cube or a Cubic's Rube. Alright, we've lost a few peoples because maybe me singing to myself is not actually that interesting to watch, and I appreciate that. We've been going for, what, 3 hours now? 3 hours and 5 minutes of me talking to myself. So the plan now then is to wait for this AMI to finish and become ready, to test it in staging, which means going to my not torrent. You can see my brain's not working right. My Terraform launch configuration. And we're going to paste it into both beta and staging. Oops, even though it's not ready yet. Once it is ready, we'll update that, and then we're going to restart staging like 3 times. The number is 3. And make sure that every single time we stop and start the instance, it comes back up again and goes, I'm ready. And then we're going to update prod, and we're going to bounce a prod image. But we're going to do it in a cleverer way so we don't break the existing image. Excuse me. And I've got to reply to Jerry. Right, so somebody has just contacted me and said, hey, do you remember how you fixed this? Oh, gosh, 2013? 2008, you're lucky I remember anything at all. Alright, now I need to work it out. Entry bin utils. Oh golly. So we were talking earlier, I think, about like building GCC and how it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Oh yeah. Oops. Sorry, I'm distracting people from doing work here. Quick question: running make change integrity of some packages in package lock. Wrong npm or something. Okay. Thank you, DBZ. Have a great weekend yourself. Thank you. Yeah, Luca, package. I don't know actually. That's an interesting point. My npm skills are not great, so I'm not certain whether or not what you're doing is right or not. It could be. I mean, if they seem innocuous, I wouldn't worry about it. It could be an npm version. The version of npm I'm using should come from opt compiler explorer node bin npm. 641, if that makes any difference at all, I don't know. Hi Luna Lambda, thank you for coming along. Yeah, sorry it's been 3 hours. Sorry it's now like, you know, the afternoon nearly. I'm just going to reply to the person who asked me here. Okay. Alright, okay. I've just replied saying that this nearly 6 year old bug. Gosh. And, you know, look, we've got Jonathan Wakely replying. It's great. but unfortunately I can't remember how I solved it, or if I did, I think I just upgraded. Anyway, we now have an image built of that AMI. We can go into the Terraform directory, and we should be able to do Terraform plan. Come on, Terraform plan. There it is. Out planny. Toomp planny, and there you are. Okay. You're on 609, revert that change. Yeah, revert it, Luca, but I wonder if maybe I need to like do some kind of magical NPM thing myself, because quite possibly I have hacked package.json and not done it in the approved way, and therefore it's got out of sync with the package.lock. I'm certainly, it could easily be my problem, my error. So anyway, we're going to apply this change here. So now staging and beta have been updated with that new image, which is the base image of the machine. Now I have to I have to remember that when I restart a node, it doesn't pick up the setup changes. We're just going to have to build a new Packer image, but you've seen how quick that is. Or I'll have to run something on it as a separate stage of the CE update, which is also completely reasonable. We don't have to be restarting things in the same way. Or, you know, maybe, yeah, whatever. There's a million ways to do this. So we're on the admin node. That is the staging instance itself. So I'm actually going to log out of the staging instance, because what I want to do is CE- or the staging is the default. Anyway, environment stop. So I'm actually going to stop all the staging instances. Let's go into here, and I'm going to zoom that out a tiny bit. It's probably not viewable now for you though. So now staging, you can see has, let me put it back at normal size. It doesn't really matter that much what we can see down here. So we're going to wait for this instance count to go to 0, and then I'm going to start it back up again. And that means we're going to get a freshly booted up image, not just one that's been restarted like by SSHing onto it and doing sudo service restart. Refresh over here and see if we've got that image has gone away. Staging still, we still have one instance. Process of launching or tape. To be honest, if I now put this to, if I restart it, we should now see that there would be 2 instances there in a second. Desired one, because as long as this, yeah, we've got one that's terminating, so that means that in a minute we're going to get one that's starting. LTO wrapper. Someone's asking about LTO wrapper over here, and I'm trying to help him about this here. Okay, so let's get rid of that again. Get a little window into my life, as you'd normally do. And we are over here, and we should have hopefully 1 instances here. Oh, can't see what it's in service. It says healthy. So that's strike 1 for it didn't immediately break. So let's log into that instance. CE instances log in. So I'm trying to be pleasant to the person on the other window. Connection timeout. All right, okay, still starting up. Or maybe not. All right, instance IO5240. What have you got to say for yourself? Says it's running. Well, it says it's running, but maybe it's not working. Oh god, this is where windowing systems within windowing systems are not a good idea. Oh, it does say initializing there, in fairness. But let's get the system log. Okay, empty system log, because apparently it doesn't actually appear until later on. Whatevs. How about now? Drum roll. Does not bode well, does it, my friends? Does not bode well. It's not very boding. I don't get good boding from this one. Connection timed out, you say? Status checks are initializing, it alleges. Refresh. Oh, this is so upsetting. If this doesn't fix it, then I don't know what it is. So that's a sadness. Usually doesn't take this long to boot a node up, so something is still not quite right here. What would be ideal is to get the system log, of course, but we're not seeing it here. Please give me the system log. How irritating. Obviously, if we can't SSH onto the box, it does make life quite difficult to yeah, this is not working all that well. Oh lordy, trouble's so high. Oh lordy. It thinks it's running, but it ain't. It ain't working. Instance settings again. Get system log. Please give me the system log. Oh, I've never noticed get instant screenshot. That sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? Oh! Well, isn't that cool? Although it's still broken. So that's a massive annoyance. Found ordering cycle. It still has an ordering cycle, it alleges. Of course, it's not actually obvious to me why there is an ordering cycle. So, cloud init, open VM tools, app armor, local FS target, start. I've never seen that before. Isn't that pretty? Can we refresh the screenshot? Look at that. Magic. Alright, but the thing doesn't bleed and work. Let's make sure we are actually running the image we thought we were running with. Oh, that's not the right box at all. So we know that we still have this ordering cycle. How do you know systemd? What have I got in my systemd configuration? Have I still got something broken in it? I bet you it's me. So in the systemd configuration, of which I am no expert, where is init? Oh no, I was in the right repository to begin with. Init, compiler explorer.service. Okay. Type equals simple, description, wanted by equals multi-user.target. See, it ain't me. I'm not doing it. I think I'm not doing it anyway. What does start.shirt do? It just does a whole bunch of nonsense here. Running an environment, blah, exec site, run site. And run site doesn't do anything clever anymore. Run site is get some configuration things and then run the darn project. It doesn't do anything. I mean, it requires, I mean, this wanted by, I mean, it depends on the network, I suppose. Do I have to say that it depends on the network here? But that won't create a cycle, right? Am I right? So let's log into one of the prod nodes and just try and work out. All right, systemd, let's say systemd debug cycle. Ordering cycle. Thank you. Thank you, the Googles. Generic methodology to debug ordering cycles in System D. Wunderbar. Okay. One that got introduced and breaks the cycle. Breaking ordering cycle by deleting blah. The closest you can do is that, which will show you the resulting effective dependency list for a given unit. But I don't know which unit's causing the problem. So let's go onto the prod machine. Minus n of prod, instances login. Because we know that these are using the same or a similar image. Alright. Oh, where is YouTube? There is YouTube. Oh, you've got, yeah. See, oh, golly, sorry. Something you noticed earlier, objective SS license and passphrase were visible on screen. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, it's probably not relevant. They've since expired. It was a trial one, but that's a very good point. And the passphrase as well, yeah. Yeah, my hygiene of these things is not ideal. I've tried my best to hide them away so that at least they're not on GitHub. But thank you. I appreciate that. We've got how many instances? Okay. So let's look at var log syslog and see ordering systemd temp files. Job deleted. So it looks like this is a thing we can put in here. No? Oh, cvol.services. I see. That was the one that I copy pasted from the internet. Okay, required system NSS network target after equals default dependencies. System de-analyze verify. Oh, hallelujah. Let's give this a go. Whatever went wrong with this? Oh, sudo apt install GraphViz. That sounds like a win for me. I love GraphViz. All right. Oh yeah, you're not wrong there. That. Where did that semicolon come from? It shouldn't have been there. All right, less cycle.sfg. An empty file. Excellent. All right. Well, why don't we try this? Sudo make me a sandwich. What? What are you talking about? What is that? Alright, man system D analyze. Verify. Load unit and print files specifying when we loaded, but also any other things. On the user system, system sysd, this is the implied default order, dot command, orders and dependencies. Well, I'm confused that why verifying would tell me that it don't know. Why are you suffering? System D verify, does that work? System D verify? No? Okay. Check unit files for correctness. Analyze, verify. So too few. That makes sense. And it's telling me the default one. I do. All right, we'll just do that. I just think that the verify thing is unnecessary. Oh, dot. Oh, thank you. Alexander, do you mean the behavior where it's complaining about shutting down the disk system, or the actual behavior we're seeing in the system? Alright, I'm going to stop you, and I'm just going to put that to dot, 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 dot. And then I'm going to, right now I have to try and work out how to get this back onto my local machine. So what is your real IP address? Whoops. Mr. Machine. Your real public IP address is this. So I should be able to go in over here and SCP Ubuntu at that hot mess dot 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 to slash temp. Assuming I haven't. I see. Thank you, Alexander. Can I actually access this machine? Oh, it's shutting down. Swear words. That's not even the right one. This is because it's a prod machine. Prod machine. I'm looking at. Not going mad, honestly. And we want to look at the one whose internal address is anyone. Just not you. 227 is the one we're looking for. I should probably make this easier. It's not this. That's not you. 227. There you go. All right. This is the one we want to steal over here. That's not the right thing at all. Yes. Dot minus t svg temp dot 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 to temp mu dot svg. Right, we'll let that go with a slightly more powerful computer here, hopefully. Is dot now taking up a whole CPU? It is. Holy cow. How complicated is that startup for it to be a problem? Well, we'll leave it going. Maybe system deanalyze with everything is too much to give dot. We're going to get like a giant vomit of information, aren't we? So we might have to go back to first principles and just have a look at the log file and say cycle. Oh. Okay, so server returned NX domain. That seems okay. System high performance. See, it looks like here Nginx is being restarted a number of times. And this is on obviously a successful boot. This is a successful boot. So where does the et work? Let's have a look. Network time, synchronization, initial pre-networking, target network network service, network enumeration completed, network configuration change, connection, network to be configured. See, this looks okay. Like it now, I've got the network. Hey, I've found a network. That's nice. Each target network is online, and then it goes on with its life. Whereas when it failed, which we still have in a window somewhere, I think. Oh, I closed the window, but we can go and get it again. I'm totally bewildered and disappointed. That's still going, which doesn't bode well for how confusing the diagram will look at when it's finished. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that I spend far too much time doing. It's so disappointing as well, because like I really want to get on and like actually just add features and things, but all this takes up a lot of time. This is why DevOps is a thing, amongst many other reasons. Okay, so network is online is where everything kind of really becomes the start time. Failed with skipping network is online. So that's the target that it's oh, warning, dark blue is not okay. I've got a suspicion this is going to be a massive rat's nest. Come on. Yeah, let's load it up in. Oh, first of all, ls minus l to moo.svg. Yeah, that's a big SVG. A meg. Google Chrome to moo.svg. Okay. Yeah, that's helpful. There's some red in there. Shutdown.targets red. Umount.targets red. Right, I should probably have generated something on the machine. It looks like we can run systemd analyze and give it a subset. .unit is network is online. I don't think is a unit, nor unit name. So I don't know how that works. But we definitely know what was a unit there. It was etc. in it. What do we got in here? Less etc. in it. Same ls let. There's not really much in there. So where the heck did Compiler Explorer get installed? Gosh, this gets confusing, doesn't it? Okay, so inside setup, somewhere in here we copy files to lib system. There we go. That's where it wants to live on Ubuntu systems, apparently. Ugh. There we go. There's all the things. All right. So which of these targets are we interested in? So it complained about umount.target, didn't it? So let's try systemd. Well, hang on. Is there one with like an obvious network name in it? Network.target. Networkonline.target. Cat that. There we go. So that's what it's called. It's networkonline.target. So we would like to say system. Where's that analyze thing? Dot, and it's not that. I want. Okay. Red. So why does it need the shutdown target? I mean, here I'm just rereading it. Yeah, system. Thank you, Alexander. I think I've got something which looks a bit like it here anyway. Maybe it's slightly different on my version, but clearly there's a red doodad here because the shutdown needs the network online. Why does network online need shutdown? Riddle me that one, Batman. System D network online depends shutdown. Oh my, I'm gonna have to stop soon, if only just because my brain is wilting. Okay, dependency shutdown type in the user instance. Okay, default requires No, it does. I don't know why that's the case. Why the suffering? What if I run this on my local machine? Let's run that actually here on this Ubuntu instance. We also have apparently a dependency on shutdown. I don't know. It doesn't seem to cause problems for my computer, so it doesn't seem to be the problem. So I don't know what's going on there. Is this a red herring? Is there something else going on these instances? Who knows or dares to dream? So I'm going to go back to target groups. And we know that the staging instance got taken down because it was unhealthy. So I'm going to go and look and see if the replacement staging instance that's fired up is now healthy. Which obviously doesn't... It is healthy apparently, but let's go and see. It conflicts with it. Oh, Redis conflicts. I see. Thank you. Thank you, Juvenile. Or Juvenile? Whatever. So that's conflicts. But what... I guess the problem we want to look at is are there cycles? They can't be both active at once. Thank you very much. That is the piece of information I needed. Cat to temp dot paste. That's quicker than any other form. I think I can just do that. Yeah. So there we go. There's no cycle there that I can see. Apparently there's no way of rescaling the window either. Oh, thank you, Image Magic. You are rubbish. So there's definitely a cycle between shutdown target and it. But that doesn't seem to be the problem. So, presumably these red ones here are the problems here. In the help, but the verify thing.
There's just too many things going on in my head.
Sudo make me a sandwich. Okay, and it attempted to move. Okay, we can't do that. Is there a workaround for this verify in case that can give us an idea? Okay, the ordering cycle is this one, reading the logs from top to bottom. So if we go and get our ls1ctr downloads, it was full log.txt. So less downloads full log.txt. We're going to search for breaking, ordering. Found ordering cycle. Remote FS system D. So this is the first complaint about ordering cycles here is remote this, skipping network pre. This seems to be the bigger problem. System D network D service start. So what if I were to run the dot command on that? It's neither an God knows what this stuff's about. I so despise systemd. That's unkind, isn't it? Really, it's just I don't know it. So remote fs pre.target. I wonder if this is still something to do with, you know, like if I look at etc f stab here, you can see I am mounting opt here, and then secondarily I'm mounting opt wine stable on that thing. Brain. On the directory that I just mounted here, which should be fine. Should be fine. There's the 0, 0 here, and if I remember rightly, those are just, they're nothing to do with first field, second or third, fourth, mount options, dump. It's used by dump. Defaults to 0 don't dump if not present. Sixth field is the order in which file system checks are done at boot time. The root should be 0, otherwise it should have a pass note of 2. So maybe I need to make that higher? I mean, it just, I don't know. Yeah, you reckon that's the problem? I mean, I can get rid of that. I mean, this is the thing I've changed most recently, so it seems a lot. Yeah, init.d for the win. Exactly, 9 do the thing. Not. If Juvenile, you have a suggestion about the way for me to make this better. I mean, one thing I could do is explicitly mount that myself rather than having it in fstab. But fstab dependency failed. Mount ordering and auto mount options in systemd. That sounds about like that. See, it's just weird that it works sometimes, but other times. No, I have. This looks like solution. No auto. X systemd.requires equals. This sounds good. Alright, I don't want to read all that stuff, but. Provided what is with some information dependence of each mount point, system mount suggests some things. X options column of fstab mount point which is needed before it has to be mounted. So my overlay fs translates to something like below. There is another auto mount. Create a auto mount for this mount point, which I don't want it to do. Yeah. Anyone who has any thoughts about how to solve this, please be my guest. Because it looks like it is maybe detecting it as a requirement, but what is this auto mount nonsense? I guess I could read the manual, couldn't I? Like it says. Requires or systemd fstab generator suggests the ordering information, etc. fstab is discarded. This means if you have union mounts, bind mounts, or fuse mounts, the fstab in which is normally at the end of it, and who knows how old or out of date this is, right? Or after equals. The problem with this, of course, is it's really hard to test. Kind of because it only happens on a reboot. Which we can do. Here we are, on a machine. Well, this is a production machine, so don't bugger it up. Don't bugger it up. Next one over here. Right. Let's man that. Okay, unit generator for etc. fstab. It translates into native systemd units early at boot time, and when the configuration of system measure is reloaded, this will instantiate mount and swap points as necessary. Yes, that makes perfect sense then. So sometimes it could work, sometimes it might not work. I get that, but then the fact that it's complaining about a circular dependency makes me wonder if it's just got its totally confused, but... Mount.user flags. Okay. One special is handling about special mount options this generator understands. So let's go and do exactly that. I agree with you. I agree that racing network in it with that bind mount is probably what's going on. Thank you. Thank you very much for being with me while we discover these things. Okay. X. Oh, excuse me. I think my wife is home, so I'm going to let her know that I'm streaming, but I'm going to finish up. Yes, my wife is just home, so my lunch is imminent, I'm glad to say. It feels like we've got a solution to this. And we've got requires. So I created a mount unit or another system D unit, such as a device or mount unit. So can we say requires equal? It looks like we can just requires equals / opt. Let's give that a go. Have we got a staging instance that's stable? Probably not, because I'm getting notifications that things are going up and down still. We can give it a go though. So this is a staging instance, so I'm safe to play around with this if needed. I've got that in the clipboard. Okay, log out of prod. Log into staging, if indeed we have one. Oh, so we have a working staging instance just because of fluke. So cat, etc. stab. And we're going to sudo, not sod. That feels like that at a moment. And so we have this none bind comma default. So we're going to paste. Oh, that's not what I meant to do at all. Man, well, we've got it here. X system D requires equals. Oh, we're gonna equals / opt. Okay, we'll give that a go. Big fat Hail Mary on this. Sudo reboot. Gulp. And then we're going to SSH Ubuntu at 172.34.97. And yes, fair warning, I am going to be out of here in 5 minutes so that I can get some food and stop incoherently rambling. But this looks like we might be on the right track. I don't know how many times we'll need to reboot it before I've developed the confidence that it's working. But if it works a couple of times, then I'll update the packer to add that line instead, and then rebuild the image, and then go through this whole rigmarole again, but after lunch. So I'm going to start saying my thank yous. Thank you, Luca. Yes, this has been another good stream. Thank you, everybody, for being here, especially during this very taxing and not really that interesting, but very debuggy, down in the weeds version of streaming for Compiler Explorer. Hopefully, with this done, we have pretty much all the pieces in place, ready to start turning on execution in the beta site, which is what this has been all about. You could also try that. Okay, thank you, Pantuful. I'm going to click that link now, which is going to open on this window. Oh no, it's going to open here. NetDev. Yes, that's a good idea. So Pantuful has just sent this thing with NetDev. Forcing it to be considered to be a network device. That sounds like a great idea. Let me see if it's up. Oh, it's not boding well, the fact that I rebooted it and it's now very dead. So instances, let me restart that. It says it's running. Connection refused. Okay, connection refused is slightly better. That means it's getting nearer there. Let's do instance settings. Get instant screenshots. We've learned that is actually kind of cool. All right. That didn't work. So we're going to try Pantuffel's idea. Which means I'm going to terminate. Oh, let's just do it. All right. I'm going to put both in. Belt and suspenders, right? So over here in the line is up here. Bind defaults, comma that equals /opt. So that's definitely going to be after it mounts /opt. And then we're going to. Is it just underscore? Let's have a look. Underscore netdev. Right, we can but try. So we go up into here, and we do make, what have we got here? Git diff. Okay, git add setup dot sure git add. We need to check this in because the actual build process does a git pull on the instance. Git commit -m Hail Mary on circular mount issue. And, I mean, I have a final solution, which is just to get rid of the line out of it, etc. fstab, and just manually mount it myself when the compiler explorer thing starts, which is not great, but will work. Git push make packer. Off it goes. All right, I'm going to go to lunch and let that finish and bake. So thank you again, and I will see you another time. I will update, if you want to join the CPP Lang Slack and specifically the C implementers channel, I will keep everyone abridged of what's going on in there. But until then, I will see you another time. Cool. If YouTube lets me finish anyway. So lunchtime for me. Fingers crossed that this is the fix. Thank you again, Pantufel. Thank you, Luca. Thank you, Juvenal, for all of the help. We'll see what goes.